Hello, everyone, and welcome here to another Sunday evening for the Doritos, Locos, Tacos 150 for the ARCS Midwest Barbecue A Squared Cup Series here on ABN Esports 2. My name is Kevin Young, glad to bring you the action as always here on a Sunday evening as we just saw Damon complete his 2 laps, and that was slot him in the P number 9. Halfway through qualifying here as usual. We'll see right now one driver is about to start a run here. Lily Peltier Sharp in the number 18. She's going to do a run here, so we'll actually watch her as she takes her 2 attempts here to put down a flying lap. We'll see if she can upset the pole position that is currently occupied by the number 22 car of Brandon Proudfoot. So the 1918 of Liz Peltier Sharp is on her merry way right now. Obviously, New Hampshire, a bit of a tricky track. Obviously, last week the drivers were at Gateway, and they did struggle a little bit in the conditions, with it being a bit of a seam track, and different driving styles really playing out on that track. Drivers like Proudfoot, Millett, Hagen really played out strong in this track, and at least at the very least, Proudfoot and Millett are running the top table, but right now Hagen's still a little bit slow in quali, but obviously he's definitely a driver to keep an eye on for the race. First lap in the books done for Sharp. That will slaughter up the P15. So we'll see what her second lap can do here. One other driver on her run as well, and it is, I was going to say teammate, but it's not the teammate. It's the 55 of Ryan Gomes. Thinking of Riley Gomes, who filled in for a couple weeks in the 04 of Emma Kruger's machine. But that is not the case here. That's another Gomes. That's Ryan Gomes, who's the 55. So we'll pivot to him once Sharp finishes her first lap. And speaking of that 04 machine, Emma Kruger also back here in action tonight. So she's felt healed up enough, and she looks like she's been cleared for medical competition. Liz Peltier Sharp there completes her 2 laps and hits the wall kind of hard there. She'll stay P15. Here Ryan Gomes is. Since I said we'll pivot to him, we'll let him finish out his second lap, and then we'll jump to the 04 machine to finish up qualifying here, as I believe, unless one of the other 2 cars here, one of the open cars, and Richie Catania, makes a run here, we probably will be the last car to attempt qualifying here. So as Gomes comes off for their second lap here, across the line, it's going to be, we're currently P23, we'll stay P23, and that will pivot us nicely to the 04 machine. Rocking a bit of a new paint scheme here, obviously a little bit more of a goldish Monster Energy 04 machine here. And while she goes around for the second lap here, we'll actually ride on board with her in a nice little camera car here for her second lap to see what a lap round here in New Hampshire looks like. So we'll ride on board here, first lap going to be P22, and we'll see what her second lap brings here. Obviously, right now, she's the last chance at pole position. Obviously, a track that's very brake-heavy here. Drivers have to be willing to get in the brakes. And if you have brake problems, or your pedal goes, or you can't get the car successfully under braking, you could be in for a world of hurt here. Emma obviously has experience braking on the road courses here. Short tracks seem to be a bit of her strength as well. Not as much as the road courses, but we'll see here as she comes off the second lap here. Across the line, where will she slot that 04 machine? It is going to be P18 for the 04 machine. And that will put her row number 9 at the moment. Obviously, with 2 minutes going qualifying, doesn't look like anyone else has a moment on track. We'll actually watch Zach Millett here, as we'll actually use him as kind of give us some action here, as he is about done with his qualifying runs. He's already done his qualifying laps, I should say. P2 is where he is locked. He's just kind of going around here, doing some extra laps to practice. And we've seen it kind of week in and week out with that 31 machine. He's come in, he's done his mandatory laps, and he's always then continued on throughout the whole qualifying session, using this as last-minute practice. Now, obviously, at certain tracks, there's a kind of not really much of an advantage to that, especially the longer tracks where times could be over a minute, like at road courses and whatnot, where it's such a long lap, you only get 1 extra lap of practice. But with New Hampshire being so short, and a lap here only being about basically half a minute, you basically got the equivalent of 18 whole more laps if you want it after qualifying. Because with laps being 30 seconds, and then obviously a little bit warm, so maybe 17, 16, obviously including pit road exit and whatnot. But still, plenty of time to put down extra laps, figure out what the car can do, and use it as a last-minute cheeky warm-up session before you get a last-minute 5 official to make sure everything's good. So Millett really using this opportunity to kind of practice out here and make sure that car feels comfortable for qualifying for the race, I should say, coming up in about 46 seconds. Well, and then 5 minutes worth of warm-up. So at the moment, again, with no other car really going to have an attempt at qualifying, and it's going to be Brandon Proudfoot that will take a pole position here. I believe that will be another pole position he can add to his gel of success right now. Obviously, still looking for that first regular points-paying victory right now in that 22. while Zach Mill, currently following on, has 3 at the moment, looking to make it a 4-peat and join John Hagen with most wins in the season. And now the 31 will pull off, and that will signify the end of qualifying here. It's going to be Proudfoot in that 31 on the front row, with Wygent, Feather Place Row 2, and Daniel Michelle rounding out the top 5. And now that we have this opportunity, we will run over the news just a couple seconds here as qualifying has concluded, and we are going to get ready for the warm-up. All right, that is warm-up concluded here. Let's just change the graphics here real fast, and we will get this pony on the road here. Make sure I got this right. Oop, that's the wrong one. There we go. And then we'll flow on the where we are currently. There we go. Oop, that's the wrong one. There we go. So anyway, yeah, now we will go over the information here about what is going on here this evening. Obviously, first of all, we'll start off with the drivers that are in fill-in duty here tonight. Drivers that are subbing in for other drivers here on the thing. First off, we'll talk with, we'll bring up the 9. Steve Tucker is filling in for Seth Wanson. Now, obviously, that has implications in the bracket challenge, and we'll go over that relatively shortly here, but that is a fill-in right here. Seth Wanson was in the finals of the bracket challenge, but he cannot be here tonight, and Steve Tucker will fill in that duty. Other driver filling in as well, if I can find them on my magical list of numbered names here. Give me a second. 29, Chris Gones is currently filling in for Mike LaJoy in the 29 machine. As you can see right there, again, rocking a bit of a different paint scheme. But here as well, obviously looking to try to get that 29 a good result here and help them in the Constructors' Championship. And Sharn Hill, as he just flipped up the order here, so just give me a second. Saw his name for a second there. Give me 2 seconds here. As drivers are beginning to put down times on warm-up here. Yep, currently top of the table here. There he is right there in the 47 with a Fallout Prime-inspired machine here for the new Fallout TV series. He's rocking that scheme here, and he'll be filling in for Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence in the 47. Speaking of qualifying, we'll actually cut back. Speaking of the bracket challenge, we'll actually cut to Daniel Michelle here for this one. As the bracket challenge was supposed to have a finale here tonight, but with Seth Wanzing not being able to be here tonight with the action, actually, whoops, turned the wrong one off. Almost got it. There we go. With Seth Wanzing not here tonight in the competition of action, that means Daniel Michelle has won the bracket challenge. Because with Seth Wanzing not being able to compete and with fill-in drivers not being able to accumulate results for their respected driver in the last round, Daniel Michelle has gone on and won the bracket challenge. So a little bit anticlimactic here tonight, but Daniel Michelle has driven it hard for the past 5 weeks. He put himself in a good spot, and even though maybe he wanted to have, we talked to him last week in the interviews, he really wanted to have a battle with Seth Wanzing. It wasn't meant to be, but obviously there's still a long season, and there's still a championship to fight for both these drivers. So even though the bracket challenge has concluded and the advantage has gone to Daniel Michelle, they're both going to still have their run-ins and battles against each other throughout the rest of the season. So Daniel Michelle will be your bracket series champion as long as he takes a lap here tonight. And yeah, he is going to be your champion. So all head Daniel Michelle, he'll be quite happy with this result, and he'll be quite happy that he ended up winning the bracket challenge, and hopefully that gives him momentum for the regular season. Now, that will move us on lastly to the point standings. We'll go over this real fast as well. Obviously, not much has changed from last week with John Hagen getting the 4th win of the season. Most wins so far this season going to John Hagen. So, actually, we'll pull up John Hagen right now while we're speaking of talking about him. Right now, he's sitting in pit lane. So, actually, we'll cut to Zach Millett here. Speaking of the other driver with the most wins this season. He is still trying to get himself into qualification zone right now to make the playoffs. He's right now on a good pace to do that, but obviously things can end up changing with on a drop on a dime, so anything can still happen here at the very least. As it looks like my timing and scoring has kind of glitched here, so I'm just going to check see if we still have time here. Yeah, so SDK has crashed. We'll quickly run over the timing and scoring here while I reload SDK here, so just give me 2 seconds here. Just going to reload SDK, get it nice and fresh. But while we finish up the points here, Sharp, Breo, and Kruger all still have wins. They're also in the playoffs. And at the cut line right now at the moment, it is Kevin Feemster now the driver on the cut line who's currently sitting in 16th position. He is 6 points ahead of David Wright, and he's 2 points behind Josh Gaiman, who's currently in 15th in the line, with Stefan Oberstadt 9 points back at the cut line and Bren Roberts 10 points back at the cut line. But with New Hampshire being a bit of a tricky track, that can easily change a lot here tonight. So just resetting SDK here. Still got a little bit of time left to warm up here. There we go. You can see right there the updated timer. SDK obviously being a bit of a tricky child sometimes. And, well, we got it updated here, though. And we got about 1 minute and some change to go here. Actually, less than that, 30 seconds. So, yeah, we'll have this quick second here as well. We'll see Milt pull in the pit lane. We'll quickly run over the Rookie of the Year standings. Hagen still leads the way, 53 points over Lilac's Ear. Pacey Wise at 56 points behind. Sharp 68 points behind. And Kenneth Cheney 143 points behind. So John Hagen's clearly leading the Rookie of the Year standings. Brandon Proudfoot's leading the regular season point standings in all total points, and John Hagen leads the way in the A-Square playoff standings with 4 wins totaled. That is going to be the wrap-up of the news. That is going to be the wrap-up of warm-up, and we are going to get ready for the main race here, and that's going to be coming up to you just in a few seconds here. So we're going to have 150 laps awaiting us here if SDK decides to show up here. It would be helpful if it did. Did it crash again? Give me a second here. Looks like it just crashed again. So give me 2 seconds here again. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties here. SDK can sometimes be a bit of a problem child when you need it to work. So we'll get the starting grid in a second here. Just 2 seconds, please. So as you can see, obviously you see the front row right now as it's taking action. Nope, still no sign of SDK here. Make sure anything's not hidden here. Oh, there we go. All right, yep, there's the starting grid. So we're now going to take a look at the starting grid here before anything else kind of glitches up here. We'll take a quick look at the starting grid here. Pull it up on your screen right now. Have to refresh it real fast. We'll have 1 extra delayed lap, so that's actually quite helpful for me to quickly go over this starting grid. So right now at the front row, it's going to be Brandon Proudfoot and Zach Millett. They will be in row number 1 with Pacey Wygant and Brandon Featherplace in row number 2. Then you got Daniel Michelle and the fill-in driver Sean Hill making up row number 3, obviously driving for Gear Cats, not Sentinel. I don't know, see why that doesn't update, but we'll have to go over that later. Chris Cones and John Hagen will be filling up row number 8 here. Josh Gaiman and Kenneth Cheney will make up the first 5 rows. Carolina Beagles, Patrick Oberstadt, and David Wright will make up row number 6. As we move a little bit further down the grid here, we have Austin Mongold, Tom Sears in row number 7, Lily Pelletier Sharp and Stefan Oberstadt in row number 8. Steve Tucker and Emma Kruger in row number 9. Dale Markowski and Mark DeLayla make up the first 10 rows. Dustin Painter and Lilac Zier in row 11. Ryan Pinnell and Ryan Gomes, the 2 Ryans in row number 12. Kevin Feemster and Ross Baxter in row 13. James Kerr and Davey Hawk in row 14. Josh Battles and Tristan Catania in row 15. Bren Roberts and Richie Catania in row number 16. And Alfred George and Selena Thompson in row 17 with, actually, that is the starting finish there. 34 cars on the grid. 33 cars going to take the flag as Selena Thompson looks like she will not be taking in the festivities here tonight with 33 cars on the grid. So that is the starting order here as we're going to get this show on the road here. Proudfoot obviously going to have control. Actually, it's going to be on green flag, but after each initial restart, it will be on the control of the leader. So we'll see how that all plays out. Stages before we get going here real fast. Stages are as followed. It is going to be lap 30 and lap 75. So a short run for stage number 1 and a little longer for stage 2 and then the longest for stage 3. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But is Pace Car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane? We're going to get this show on the road. Green flag is out, and the Doritos Locos Taco 150 is underway here at New Hampshire. And as lap 1 is about to be concluded here, it's going to be a photo finish to the line, and it's going to be Brandon Proudfoot who leads lap number 1 with Zach Millett trying to get around the high side, but not going to be able to get the job done. Top 4 stayed relatively the same, but you did see a little bit of trouble a little bit further back here. As you can see, 3 wide here, kind of Cheney trying to work his way up to the field here. You can also see, obviously, you saw that 29 machine get a little bit loosey-goosey going off into 3 and 4 on lap 1. Looks like he got it straight, but he obviously lost a couple spots in the transaction. Obviously, we're focusing on a little bit further back here because it was 2-3 wide. You can see Steve Tucker trying to get a spot here on the 41 machine of Patrick Oberstadt as they are currently side-by-side heading off into 1 here. A little bit further up here, John Hagan, you can see right here, and Daniel Michelle battling for position. Michelle way up the racing surface here, going to leave him under pressure. And look at Pacey Wygent. He has lost it off the corner here, and along with the 29. You can see right there, both drivers are going to have to take evasive action, almost have to take the road course variation here at New Hampshire. Both will get it fired up, though, and they'll both lose time, but no caution will be called. So both Wygent and Gomes will be under pressure here and will have to get rebailed out by the stage break. But luckily, not hitting anything, they'll be at least with no damage. Back up towards the front here, you can see right there, it's still a 2-horse race. You can see Millett trying to beat down the back bumper, and we actually have a quick caution here. Looks like it's Austin Mongold. You can see right there, pretty tore up. You can also see a car down on the side of the road there. Can't 100% see who that is. Looks like it's 21 of Kevin Feemster, and obviously saw the 55 of Gomes, Ryan Gomes, ended up having a bit of piece of action here as well. All 3 cars have gotten it refired, but we'll take a quick look to see what exactly happened with those cars. So we'll take a look at the fancy replay here, and we'll take it from, usually when in doubt, we'll play it from the normal camera, and we'll see what happens. So keep an eye on that 4 machine, and we'll let it play out here. Hongold coming in right about sharp here, and oh, they got together. And then it came up the race surface. David Wright, Tom Sears ends up giving a little bump around, and then Feemster nowhere to go. Gomes luckily doesn't get much of a piece there on the brakes quite quickly and ends up not really piling on in all that hard, making major damage. So we'll take another look here. We'll take it from a little bit of a different angle here, and we'll actually focus on the 14 of Tom Sears here as you see him a little bit further down the road here. So we'll play it out here, and you can see again the 4 kind of goes in hot. Ends up kind of coming up the race surface right in the 18 of Sharp, and obviously right there, the 14 of Sears, nowhere to go, and just had to give the hook to the 4, and Feemster obviously had nowhere to go as well, and ends up getting a little bit of damage to save his own trouble. We'll take one more look at this as well. We'll actually ride on board with the 21 of Kevin Feemster here. Obviously a driver that made the playoffs last season, having a good season so far, still looking for that elusive first win, so we'll play it on his onboard shot here, and you can see up the road right there, the puff of smoke, the lockup right in the Sharp. Feemster just trying to find a lane through in the Gears of War machine, and sadly, there was a Dr. Pepper waiting for him at the end of that rainbow. But luckily, not tore up too bad considering the low speeds of these machines. So back to live action, obviously Austin Mongold sitting on pit lane here. Well, a little bit hard to see. There you go. Austin Mongold, only car in pit lane along with Kevin Feemster, both getting their cars worked up under this opening pit stop to try to get their cars relatively running before the race happens. Obviously, also Kevin Feemster, as we talked about, running a bit of a new paint scheme, running a Gears of War paint scheme. Obviously, all drivers do have a fast repair if they so need it, but obviously being this early on and that minor damage for both cars, you don't want to end up burning it if you don't need to, and they will both elect not to. A little bit back up here, you can see Pacey, not Pacey Wygent, Brandon Proudfoot, and let's see if Mongold beats the light here. I don't think he's going to beat the pace car here. Yeah, he's going to miss it. The fixing damage is not going to favor out. And it looks like Mongold may have to take that lap back. Looks like at the moment he could end up avoiding it. We'll keep an eye on the pace cars. Actually, we've just gotten the 1 to go here. So we're going to go green this time by. And Mongold will have to drop back behind the cars here. So he'll be the first car going 1 down. Take a quick look at the starting 10 here. Proudfoot, Millett, row 1. Predative Place, Hagan, row 2. Millett, Michelle Hill, row 3. Gaiman, Tucker, row 4. Oberstadt, Cheney, your first 5 rows here. And this caution really did help out Pacey, Wygent, and Chris Gones, as now they've gotten caught back up in the field, and we'll see if they can get back in the top 10 before Stage 1 has concluded. Control will be on Proudfoot here in the restart zone, as the pace car is going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane here, and we'll see this action play out here. Green is out, and away we go. Good launch by Proudfoot. Millett, not so much, but he'll be able to hang on the second here. So you can see right now at the moment, battle for third raging on here between the 34 and the 81 as Feather Place is trying to make a move on John Hagen here. And then you can also see the 47. Obviously, we saw in the chat there at the moment to see this battle rages kind of settles out here for a second. So we'll cut back to Sharon Hill here. But if you're watching this live, obviously Cheeseburger Lawrence has joined us in the chat here. And you can see he's not too thrilled not having to be in the car this weekend. But at the very least, he's happy to see the car up front and see Gear Cats running well. And obviously, as a driver, you hate having to see your car do well without you in it. But obviously, hopefully, Cheeseburger will be back here next week and kick tail in that 47 machine. Well, actually, not even next week because we have the week off for a week off next week. But the following week, he'll hopefully be back in that car and be able to get some good runs in that 47 machine. As you can see, Hill hanging on the 7th here with Gaiman knocking down the door back in 8th position. You can see it looks like a little bit, yeah, car spun in the back there. We saw it there on camera. I saw it on the second replay there, and you're going to see here who's actually it was. You can see the stack up here, and it looks like it was Austin Mongold. Sorry, Austin Mongold again. It looks like it was, trying to find the name here, a lot of cars right around Emma Kruger, Davey Hawk. There's Davey Hawk right there. He's got a little bit of damage, along with a few others here. Obviously, most cars have gotten it fired back up here. So we'll just take, instead of me trying to find and try to speculate what exactly happened, we'll take a look here, and it looks like it happened around Emma Kruger and Ryan Pinnell here. Well, that's not Ryan Pinnell. That's Stefan Oberstadt. But we'll see exactly what happened here. So we'll play it out here. Keep an eye on that 04 machine, and we'll play it out here. Let's see. Oh, similar to what happened before there. Emma Kruger kind of goes up the race surface just a bit, and Ryan Pinnell nowhere to go. Piles in at this point, becomes a track blocker. Hawk gets a little bit of a bump sent sideways, and you see the rest of the cars have to get on the brake. Bren Roberts obviously nowhere to go as well in that incident. So we'll actually take a look here. I want to watch it again from Emma Kruger's perspective, but this time we'll take it from an eye in the sky, already pie in the sky, as we'll take it from a chopper cam. We'll play it at a 4th speed here. I just want to see again if we'll actually play it full speed for a second, and now we'll pause and play it at 4th speed. I just want to see again, did Kruger lose it? Was it netcode? Ooh, actually, I think Kruger may have held her line just a bit there. Just two drivers fighting over the same piece of real estate, not similar to what happened with Mongold, who locked up. Kruger went in a bit deep, but she ended up holding it. But obviously, that's up for race crew to decide. But obviously, Ryan Pinnell and Dustin Painter nowhere to go. And then you can see the rest of the effect there as cars just try to pile on in. We'll actually take another look here, 2 more perspectives here. A quick look from Ryan Pinnell here, as we'll see his perspective going into the corner here. Obviously, a little bit further back. Obviously, the incident's going to happen just up the road here. Pinnell just trying to hang on, find a way around, and then you can see right there, pop the smoke, and nowhere to go. And hard into the outside wall. Tore the front end up a little bit on that 12 machine, but looks like the engine doesn't look horribly damaged in that incident. We'll take one last look here as well. We'll take it from the 84 of Bren Roberts here. We'll actually ride on board with the Polar Bear machine right from the nice hood camera here, and we'll see what he sees through this incident. So obviously it's going to happen way up the road here. You can see right there the incident in question, shot at the racing surface, Pinnell nowhere to go, and Roberts the same problem, and then you can see he just gets hit from behind from that 80 and ends up getting spun around. But luckily, again, minimal damage, so 84 obviously going to be relatively okay to keep going. So back to live action. Here's Austin Mongold. He's coming down the pit lane here. Obviously did not have any damage due to the incident, but we'll get the lucky dog, and in turn we'll be back on the lead lap, and we'll fix up his car some more here and get it more competitively fast here at the very least. A few other drivers electing to come down, including Bren Roberts. There he is right there. Emma Kruger also came down. Davey Hawk came down. And you can see right there came down as well, along with a few extra cars there. More importantly, it looks like Ryan Pinnell did not elect to come down. So obviously did not get a mandatory come-down flag. So he wants to kind of put it out here for the next 15 laps here. Obviously, stage ends on lap 30, so he feels confident in his Craftsman machine that he can make it to the finish line here. So we'll cut back up towards the front here. Obviously, we should get the one to go this time by. Lights are now out on the pace car, so I was correct. And we are going to get this show back underway here. And when we go back, we are going to have just above halfway to go in stage number 1 here. So it's going to be Proudfoot Millet row number 1, with Hagen Featherplace row 2, Michelle Tucker row 3, Hill Gaiman row 4, and Cheney and Sharp your first 5 rows here. Obviously, some of these drivers in this top 10, a few are in the fill and roll like Tucker and Hill. Some drivers, obviously like Cheney, who's had a bad couple weeks, looking to get a good finish this week along with Gaiman. And then you got drivers like Millet, proud Millet and Hagen, who've won countless times this season, looking at another stone to their infinite gauntlet. Excuse me. So anyway, Proudfoot going to have control here. He's going to have control in the restart zone here. Obviously, he loves these kind of tracks, so we'll see if he can keep that form going. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. It's going to be on Proudfoot's control. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch by the 22. 81 of Hagen looking to try to catch 31 napping. A little bit further back there, you saw Pacey wide to try to make a move on Painter. It got almost shoved wide there, but luckily keeps it straight. Obviously, we still keep rolling on. The top two here is Millet and Hagen. They're fighting a bit hard for second. Proudfoot will lead this lap. Millet will keep second away from John Hagen. So top four is still the same as we saw it before, but not minor little changes here throughout the positions. Speaking of, we'll actually cut a little bit further back here. It looks like the top 10 is pretty much settled out here, but it's getting a little bit racy, a little bit outside the top 10 here. So you can see right here, just inside the top 10 here, you can see right there, there's the 47 making a move, and there's the 76 of Kenneth Cheney, currently in 9th position, trying to make a move on Sharp. So two battle rages on here. Sharp and Cheney fighting hard here. Looks like Sharp will end up holding on to the position. And then just up the road here, you can see right there, the 47 of Sharn Hill looking to make a move on Michelle, and Gaiman gets in the back of the 25 there. And they're going to send them both up the racing surface. They luckily keep it straight. Now Gaiman's going to have a bit of a speed differential here. Going to get caught by a second pack here, and this is going to put the 61 probably out of contention here of getting stage points, along with Michelle, but with still 10-ish laps left and the speed they have, they could ring it back. But obviously it's going to be a bit tough, and they're going to have to drive quite hard to get back inside the top 10 if they want to get side stage points here, as they both stop the bleeding at the moment. So anyway, just up the road here, Daniel Michelle making a move on Patrick Oberstadt here. You can see top 10 all single file at the moment. We're keeping an eye on that lead. We have a caution, a lot of cars involved here. Alfred George, Ryan Gomes, 21 of Feemster involved. And it's a bit of a car park back here. And I wonder if a driver maybe got a little overzealous at the very least. And you can see that 21 obviously did not burn a fast repair yet. Very torn up indeed. We'll have to take a look and see what happened. But it looks like it may have started around Dustin Painter. And we'll take a quick look to see what exactly happened. So Painter and Ross Baxter in the 60 fighting here. And we're actually going to go for the eye in the sky on the start here, because I got a hunch this may have been the starting point here. So we'll play it out for a second here, and we'll pause it right there, and we're going to play it at 4th speed, and we'll see here. So Painter and Baxter side by side. Painter going low. Does Painter just lose it, or does he drift up? Holding his line, coming up a bit. Oh, the car just kicks out on his own. And at this point, the car you can see getting loose. Now we'll play it at full speed. Gets loose, and then he can't save it. Comes up the road right in the Ryan Gomes in the Feemster. And you can see the Delayla, he gets a bit all torn up there as he ends up getting kind of hooked around. And then you can see Alfred George involved along with a 29. So multiple good cars involved in that incident. Speaking of, we'll go back again here. We'll focus on the 20, not the 20, yeah, the 21 of Kevin Feemster. I was going to say we should focus on, and I think we are. Actually, we'll focus on Mark Delayla. Sorry. Mark Delayla has a better perspective of this, so we'll watch Mark Delayla as he goes in the corner here. Obviously, a little bit further back in this incident, obviously you can see right there, Gomes, Feemster just up the road here. The incident's going to happen right about here. Puff of smoke, and then you can see right there, Delayla, big hard lick in the outside wall. First driver to lose his rear clip, and corner 1 to corner 2 has been a bit of the problem child here, and has caught a lot of drivers napping quite quickly here. We'll take one more look as well. We'll ride on board with Kevin Feemster. Try to do some funky little magic there. Did not work, so we'll actually ride on board here with Kevin Feemster again here, as he's going to give us a good perspective of what happened in the middle pack when this incident happened. You can see just up the road right there, Feemster, Painter gets a little loose, and at this point just becomes a track blocker, and nowhere to go for the 80, the 55, and the 21, who ends up getting sent sideways and facing wrong way round. Second driver to be wrong way around here tonight, along with the 84 Brent Roberts in that corner. So, strange bedfellows make strange situations. Back to live action. There's the 21 of Kevin Feemster. Looks like he has come back in again. Most drivers I've been in pit lane so far have been drivers that have involved in incidents. More importantly, though, Daniel Michelle did elect to come in at the end of come in here at lap 19 here. Only driver inside the top 10, top 15 to come in. So he's trying maybe a bit of an alt strategy here. Obviously, the 2024 Bracket Challenge victor here is electing to try a different strategy here, and we'll see if it all plays out. Lights out on the pace car here. It's going to be Proudfoot, Millet still in your front row with Hagen, Feather Place, row 2, Hill, Tucker, row 3, Sharp, Cheney, row 4, Oberstadt, Sears, your first 5 rows here. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch by the 22. Hagen again trying to make that inside line work as they'll be side by side heading into 1. Millet way up the surface, though. Try to make something work here. Now he'll be under pressure. He'll fall down the 3rd position, and now they'll try to go the over-under here, so maybe it was a bit of a play here. Can't get on the low side here, though. Hagen going to try to go high side. Low side is where you want to be here at the moment. It's kind of a better passing lane than trying to rip it around the high side here. So his top 3 plays on. We get a little bit racy, a little bit further back here. You can see Feather Place, Tucker, and Hill all battling for position here as their 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. 1 Line Power, 1 Tombstone Motorsports, 1 Gear Cat machine with another one in the 18 sitting behind as 2 Gear Cats look like they're about to fight, like 2 kitties fighting over a piece of yarn. Oh, Tucker tried to pull a block there. Maybe he was trying to go low. 47, big lick there at the back end. We'll see if that has any ramifications in damaging that 47. He'll lose a couple spots here because of that. Obviously, Tucker didn't mean no malice on that. Was just trying to get into the corner, and 47 may misjudge the braking point. Maybe the 9 braked a little too quickly. But regardless, gave the 47 a big old shiner on his front end. Anything not changing up front. Oh, Kenneth Cheney gets a little loose there. Kenneth Cheney going to be a bit slow. Car's going to get around Tom Sears. When a slow driver in the left lane, nowhere to go for Tom Sears as he will have to try to take the evasive road here. Try to go around, so Candy gets a little loose off corner exit there too, hits the wall, and Sears nowhere to go, and is going to fall outside the top 10 here. About to be outside the top 15 if he's not careful, as he'll now be batting a little bit further back, so we're hitting within 5 to go here in the stage next time by. Look at that Pacey Wygent right there, battling right there. Josh Gaiman, that's for currently 9th and 10th respectively. Last 2 drivers in on stage points at the moment. Remember, Pacey Wygent had a mistake on the opening couple laps, fell back down the 30th, and is now back inside the top 10 here. Definitely a car you don't want to count out in these situations. Now Gaiman looking to make a move here. Just up the road, Steve Tucker. Obviously, Seth Juan's not here tonight, though, but you could say a different rose of a flower smells just as sweet, as Tucker is already up the 4th position and climbing here. And we'll see what he can do here and maybe get himself in the top 3 before the stage break ends. Obviously not running for points, but at the very least could run to help Tombstone Motorsports in the Constructors. Back a little bit there. Again, we'll cut back just behind the road here. Gaiman and Oberstadt and Pacey Wygent. Oberstadt going to fall down the 9th here. Pacey Wygent looking to make a move here to get inside the top 10. Side by side, they are at the moment. Again, Wygent in the advantage spot here, going into the corner here. Now, Stefan doesn't have to be overly aggressive here. If he wants to get a stage point, he's got a little bit of a cushion to next car. He can let the 00 go and then try to challenge back on the low side here. Doesn't need to really force it on the high side and burn his stuff up and really put himself in a bad spot where he could fall back outside the top 10 here. So we'll cut back up to the lead here. You can see right there, it's still the Proudfoot show. He's led all 28 laps at the moment. I think that will end once we get to the end of the stage 1. I think a few cars may elect to stay out. But as we've now come to 2 to go in the stage, pit lane has officially closed here, and it looks like Patrick Oberstadt came down the pit lane here, or at least did at the moment here. So it looks like he tried to beat the pit lane buzzer at the very least. As it says here, actually, it looks like it may have been just a timing scoring glitch on my screen, so my mistake. Did not try to beat anything. Looks like he just got a little loose, and the game, iRacing simulation triggered a caution there, so bit of a misreport on my part. But as we're coming to go with a white flag in the stage, Hagen looking to try to steal the stage victory away from Proudfoot as we have taken the white flag in the stage. Proudfoot has won 1 stage so far this season. John Hagen has won 3, and Zach Millett has won 1 himself. So obviously Hagen has won the most stages here out of all the drivers. Looking to add another one to his resume here. Really going low on Proudfoot. Proudfoot holding it off. Hagen going to try to go aggressive there. Obviously there was some good camaraderie between the two last week at Gateway, but it's going to be a photo finish to the line here. Hagen, Proudfoot, banging, bogging, Hagen, Proudfoot will cross the line. Millett will take second, and maybe a little bit you could say if Karmic just takes a little bit with the aggressiveness there. Hagen will fall to 4th, and Steve Tucker will take 3rd position. So it'll be Proudfoot, Millett, Tucker, Hagen, Featherplace, Sharp, Hill, Gaiman, Wygen, Stefan Oberstadt, your top 10. And it's going to be quite interesting to see as Proudfoot will win the stage. But Hagen was fighting like it was the last lap. As you saw, Proudfoot elected to go down here. And as we're going to have the pit lane here, I actually want to take a look, if we can, at that last lap there just to see in perspective. So we're taking a look at the end of the stage here. Obviously, you see the finish line. We'll take it a little bit further back here as pit stops have now starting to conclude here. So we'll actually take a look here, and you can see right there, Hagen, you can see the aggressiveness in his eyes. So we'll play it at full speed. You can see right there, you can see Hagen trying to go low. Proudfoot just keeps blocking until eventually he can't block no more. Hagen going to slide on in here and push up the racing surface here. And as they come off the corner here, side by side, beating and banging, we're going to switch to Hagen here. You can see Hagen gets a little bit on the door there and then allows Millett to go around. Steve Tucker actually did not cross the line here, so actually Hagen will get 3rd. So switch out here. But you can just see how chaotic that was at the moment there. 2 drivers fighting hard for the stage victory. Proudfoot will get it. Hagen ends up losing one. But obviously, right there at the moment, you know for a fact, could be a little bit of a moment there. As we know in last week's interviews, Proudfoot kind of tipped his hat and said, hey, that was clean racing we had last week, textbook bump and run. But right there, you know John Hagen's an aggressive driver, and you saw it right there play out on the racing surface. So at the moment, we had drivers electing different strategies here. Josh Gaiman elected to stay out, along with Zier, Roberts, Michelle, Kruger, Mongold, Brandon Featherplace is the first driver that did not stay out. He elected to come in, took fuel only, along with Sharp and Baxter, with Brandon Proudfoot now the first car to come in for 4 tires and fuel. He'll be slotting in P10. So different strategies here. Should be worth noting, Josh Gaiman has not pitted yet this race. He has not made a pit stop yet, so he is currently running on 30-lap old tires and a 30-lap fuel tank. Zier came in at lap 5. She took fuel only. Brendan Roberts came in at 19, took 4 tires of fuel. Daniel Michelle took fuel only on his SK down the pit lane, but elected to take, maybe a little bit of damage repair. And then the rest, Mongold and Kruger to fix the cars up and take 4 tires. So different strategy here, but Gaiman is going to be the one leading us to the restart zone here. Remember, stage ends on lap 75 for stage 2. And that orange and black 61, which we're a little out of season. You think the pumpkin month would be at least a couple months down the road, but obviously going to run that orange and black machine and the inverse purple and white machine to his outside. Green flag is out, and away we go. Great launch by the 61, and away we fly. So to complete the first lap in the books here of stage number 2, it's going to be Gaiman leading the way. Roberts and Michelle, though, going to try to make a 2-for-1 pass on the 89 to Zier. They'll both be successful, but so put Roberts up the second, Michelle up the third, Zier will fall down the fourth. Then Mongold, Sharp, Kruger, Featherplace, and look at how racy it's getting back there. You can see Proudfoot, remember, the first driver on the 4 fresh tires here, the freshest in the field. And he's going to try to make a move. Ryan Gomes gets in the back there, hits the wall. Looks like he may have some contact with Feemster. We're going to stay green, though, at the moment. Look at that, 3 wide. Kruger, Featherplace, Proudfoot. Kruger going to go wrong way around here. She's going to hit the outside wall. No caution will be called here. We will stay green at the moment, but obviously Emma Kruger, the big loser there, and she's now going to fall back down 32nd and going to need a caution to get back up to the front here. Back 4, we see top 3 still to play at the moment. But you can see right there, oh, the 4 of Austin Mongold. He's coming up the racing surface. It looks like he'll hold it down, though. and he'll come back down. So luckily, it looked like he was going to shoot up there, and he's going to end up keeping it clean. So again, a couple close calls here in stage 2 to start it, but no caution we called. As again, you can see right here, Proudfoot, Feather Place, Hagen, 6th, 7th, 8th at the moment as they're fighting hard here. Two of them on fresh tires. Remember, Feather Place rolled the strategy there to get fuel only on his pit stop here. So slightly older tires on that 34 machine. Hagen gets a little loose off the corner, though. And he probably burnt up the stuff. Wygent, Baxter, a few others going to have to take evasive action there to get around the 81. They all successfully do. No one rear ends the 81 here. And that has been a tricky corner here. It's caught a few drivers out napping, whether they've gone too far and plowed the wall or gone a little bit too early and ended up spinning it out. So Hagen may have just burned off a little excess rubber on those tires. He'll now fall down to 13th, but at the very least, still within shouting distance of the top 10. So back up towards the front here, we're going to cut. As you can see right there, Michelle and Roberts, they're fighting hard for position, and Roberts and Feather Place here fighting hard here as well, as Proudfoot is trying to make a move here on Alyssa Pelletier Sharp. Proudfoot will get it successfully done, so put Proudfoot up the 5th, Sharp down the 6th. So Proudfoot really trying to get back towards the front here. You know he's got a mad fast 22, and he wants to get as many cars between him and his main rivals as quick as he can. Oh, right there again, car. That's John Hagen. Again, he gets loose off the surface there, and he's going to lose a couple more spots here. So this second stage has all gone wrong for John Hagen, as he's falling down the road. There, 3 wide right, goes a little bit up the road. Baxter gets sideways. Hagen going to avoid it. Baxter going to spin around here. No caution called here. Again, no one plied into the 60 of Ross Baxter here. So we stay green, more importantly. But again, you can just see how many cars have had problems here at the moment. Baxter, Kruger, Delela, Kerr, Mongold, Gomes, all back here and have lost touch to the main pack. Just shows you how tricky New Hampshire can be. And it's caught a lot of drivers napping. Back up to about P8 here. Feather Place currently holding the station. Steve Tucker and Pacey Wygent fighting hard for 9th and 10th. As Tucker going aggressive in on Wygent. Our Wygent, we know, has about a top 5 car for due to qualifying. Again, trying to get back in that top 5. Side by side right now at the moment. But you can see everyone ahead of these two are almost side by side. As you can see, Millet fighting hard for position with Sharp. And that is a battle for 6th position. And it looks like Millet will get clear. But this battle still rages on here. Again, no love lost between the two of them. We'll actually head into the eye in the sky camera here, just to show you going into corner 1 here, just to show you how close they were. Now, obviously, looks like that battle's kind of settled out for a second here, but looks like Tucker going to get an answer back here. Still side by side. We'll cut back from this battle in a second here as we have a big battle for 2nd raging on. As you see, Proudfoot is caught back up to 2nd with Millet and Michelle and Roberts all here fighting. You can see Millet there also making a move on Zier for 5th. And you can see right there, Proudfoot trying to be patient, trying to find a lane here to make something happen. Pick a line, pick a lay here to make something happen here. Right on board with the 22 here, as you can see right there, riding in 4th, just trying to find a lane, trying to find a situation to get around here. And I think he may find this opportunity here. He's going to take a 3 wide here, going into the corner. Aggressive move here, but he wants to make advantage of these fresh tires here. And it looks like I think he's going to do it. At least he's going to get around Michelle. Yeah, that's going to be a 2 for 1, so give a hat tip to Proudfoot. The aggressive strategy worked there, and the fresh tires did, and he's now up to 2nd position. Third and 4th still rages on quite hard here between Michelle and Roberts, and now you can see Millet ready to join the fray too. And now you're truly seeing the fresh tires pay off here, as Millet, with those fresh rubbers, the fresh Goodyear's Eagles, will get around Millet, and now Zier and Michelle will fight hard here for 5th and 6th, respectively. So back up to the front here again. You can see Proudfoot, he saw an opportunity to make a move, saw it on the timing and scoring, and I think Proudfoot wants this lead back. Only took about 15 laps, and he is now back to the point of this race. So put that 22 Twisted Metal Machine up to P1 as game will now fall down to 2, and Millet trying to make a move on Roberts will successfully get it done. Millet ready to join his foe at the moment and join him in P2 here. But Gaiman, obviously no spring chicken, has won 2 stages this season as well. Won stage 2 at Gateway last week. So he knows how to win stages here. And you can see right now, though, trying to get that car be nice and wide. As you can see the GearCat supporters putting up the defense signs around the racing surface. Now getting a good run there. You can just see, again, that tire advantage playing out factor. And again, it's not working out right now for Gaiman, but at the very least, he'll have one extra set of Goodyear Eagles over the cars he's currently battling. And if he can keep the net track position gain, this could end up being a net positive for him. So right now, it's not looking good. He's going to have to take his lumps. But at the very least, it could always be worse. And let me just knock on wood before I have the 61 coming back up here in the studio if something bad actually does happen. So right now, again, to just show you the gap here for a second, Proudfoot about 1 second clear on Zach Millet, currently sitting in second. Looks like Chris Goins had a bit of an incident here. Stationary through 3 and 4 right now. Car's going to get around him. He'll get it fired back up here, and away he will go. So again, a couple close shaves. We're still green in stage 2. Green flag so far at the moment, as the stage is still a little bit of ways away from completing as it ends at lap 75. So you can see a couple lap cars up the road here as well. Obviously, with 26 laps to go next time by in this stage, could be a bit risky. As you can see Steve Tucker there trying to make a move on Daniel Michelle. Now, obviously, again, the 2 cars, the 9 and the 25 were in the finale of the bracket challenge. Obviously, again, with that not being Seth Wanzing, it's a moot point. But it's kind of interesting to fantasize at the moment that, again, right now, the moment, if the 25 did not win the bracket challenge by being the only car here, the only driver here, that 9 could put on a good show, as we know that Tombstone Motorsports 9 is quite fast, as Steve Tucker is quite literally showing as he's gotten that car up the 5th position. Now trying to make a move on the 84 Roberts here as well. Side by side, they both are. Roberts going to get clear and lose the spot. Roberts, though, still on the corner panel here. You can see how far Gaiman has fallen. Remember, this is 3rd position right there. They have lost about 2 seconds to Proudfoot and Millet here, who are beginning to drive away here. Steve Tucker, remember, did come in under the last pit stop window. He also has 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on his machine, while Bren Roberts on slightly older tires came in at 19 for fresh tires, along with Daniel Michelle, who came in for fuel only on lap 19. So differing strategies here at the very least. But Gaiman trying to hang on here, make this a net positive, but Tucker looking to try to get a round here if he can. Look at that. Not taking no prisoners here. Obviously, he's a sub driver, so you obviously don't want to piss too many people off because, A, if you do that good and the opportunity opens up, you could be racing here next year. So there is that, or next season, I should say. So at the very least, though, you want to keep your doors open. If you ride hard, fair, and aggressive, you could find open doors for competitive rides. But at the very least, though, he's not giving up an inch here, as they're going to be side by side. And again, just to show you how close it is, we'll take it. That is the wrong camera. We want it from, we'll go back to the main TV here just to show it. I was going to go for the eye in the sky, but it looks like it'll be a mute point now as Tucker is going to get around Gaiman. So put Tucker up the 3rd, Gaiman now down the 4th. And look at Tom Sears there in the background. Almost gets in the back of Zier. And speaking of drivers that have recovered quite nicely, John Hagan, he's up to 9th. Remember, he was down as low as 20th at the start of stage 2 here, and he is now trying to get himself further up the field here. We know he's got a fat top 3 car, at least in stage 1, but obviously it's still a long hill he'll have to climb here, and now this time it's up on recovery. As you can also see, the 47 of Hill trying to make a move there. Will get around Wygent, but Zier will cover it off quite nicely. And look at that bump there by Wygent as he feels confident enough to make a move here. Heading into corner 3, it looks like that move will not happen, but a driver looking to make a move, Hill will, and Hill will get around Zier. Oh, I wouldn't say get around, but we'll go side by side with Zier at the moment. And just up the road here, I saw it on my peripheral, Roberts, Gaiman, side by side here. Again, you could put a paperclip between the two of them right now, but looks like Roberts Again, slightly fresher tires will get around. Now Tom Sears looking to join the fray here. And all these cars fighting hard here. No one giving an inch here. As you don't do. Sears going to go low here, hug the bottom in the Celtics 14. Obviously, the Celtics advanced to the next round of the playoffs last week. So running that Boston scheme with pride here. We'll see what he can do here. Hopefully he doesn't take all the luck away from the Celtics, as they've had some struggles the last season. But right now, side by side with the 61 to Josh Gaiman. Sears looking to crash the top 5. Hagan also looking to crash it as well. And sometimes you got to be methodical and patient to get moves done around here. But it looks like Gaiman's still hanging on. Now next driver up, Hagan, looking to make a move around Tom Sears here. Sears will get the drive off he needs here. It looks like he will. Hagan looking to maybe even to push that 61 machine clear here. And a little bump there, though. Hagan bumps the 14 of Tom Sears just a tiny bit, sends him up the road. And Hagan taking no prisoners here. 3 wide between Sears, Gaiman, and Michelle. They keep it straight. Hat tip to all 3. Lesser drivers would have looped it or hit the inside wall. But we all keep it straight, they all keep it clean, and they all keep it green. As the battle still rages on a little bit further back. So we'll take a second here to kind of reset the field here as we're coming up to a few, well over, let me make sure I got my number right here. As we're coming up to 15 to go in the stage here in 2 laps time. So we'll take a quick wrap around the field here. So Proudfoot leads the way right now at the moment, with Zach Millett sitting in second. Millett closing that gap down slowly here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Right there, Zach Millett right now, as they both put Emma Kruger 1 down. Steve Tucker sitting in third. That's Steve Tucker right there. Sitting in third, comfortably in third, trying to wrap down those 2, but getting good roads, gapping the 4th place car, Bren Roberts, who's getting his back beat down by John Hagan here. As you can see, Hagan will stay on this for a second here, as Hagan looking to make a move around Roberts here. So we'll hold on to this just for a second and then continue our wraparound, as Hagan going to get well clear of Bren Roberts here. So the 81 will get around the 84, and that'll put Hagan up the 4th, Roberts down the 5th. Tom Sears there in 6th position, with Lilacs here in 7th. Josh Gaiman there in 8th, with Michelle fighting hard here for 8th and 9th, respectively. And then you got Shern Hill being the last car here in the top 10, with Pacey Wygant knocking on the door in 11th. So that's your top 10 plus 1 here, as these drivers are fighting hard to get stage points here, as Michelle will get clear of Gaiman. And then the 47 of Shern Hill looking to try to get around Gaiman as well. So it's still a net positive for Gaiman, but Gaiman's just hoping the stage can end quite quickly here and he gets some fresh tires on that 61 machine. Yeah, as you'll see the Hill get around. Now Wygant going to join him as they'll creep around here. But back towards the front we'll go here. You can see right there, there's Zach Millett, and we'll show you right now at the moment. Actually, Josh Gaiman started to cut back. He's had enough. He's in the pit lane here. He's going to go 1 down, but at the very least, we'll get some fresh tires on that machine. Now back to Zach Millett. You can see right now they've caught a bit of lap traffic here. Elfridge George up the road here, along with one other car. Looks like that one car is Mark DeLayla, I believe. We'll see here in the wide shot. But right now, Proudfoot getting the fall off just a bit here. Millett keeping him honest. That time by, it was a 31.92 for Proudfoot, a 31.98 for Proudfoot, a 31.93 for Millett. You see DeLayla and George side by side. That's not going to help the 22 here, as he needs a lane to make a move here. He needs them to kind of settle out their battle here. And Elfridge George will just go low here, and you can see right there, Proudfoot not too thrilled. He has to kind of split the middle here. 3 wide. Again, George is 1 down, but DeLayla is trying to stay on the lead lap here. So again, kind of maybe a bit of a hand out the window moment, like, hey, settle this any other time, but they do have a right to race. You can see right there, Kerr hit the inside wall. No caution will be called. As next time by, we'll have 11 to go in the stage, but right now, Zach Millett, he's feeling pouncy. He's feeling dangerous. We'll see what he can do and maybe get that 31 to the racing point here. Proudfoot drifts up the road just a little bit there. He'll still hang on. Lap 65. 11 to go in the stage here. Looks like Austin Mongol had a bit of an off track right there, but that's a little bit further back. Hearing some scraping up the behind the shot here. No major cars falling down the order. You can see there's Austin Mongol. Speaking of Mongol, there he was. So that's exactly what happened to Mongol. Looks like he got a little loose. Came back on the surface. He'll also now join the one-down crew, as now he'll be fighting Mark DeLayla to be the lucky dog. Zach Millett ready to make a move here. Is going to go side by side into one. Can he get a lunge on this 22 here? Oh, he's got to leave the space. 22 trying to get the run off, and he will get the better run. So the 22 will hang on at the moment and will take back his lead. So just keep it diversity here. The next car up the road they're going to catch is the 3 of Stefan Oberstadt, who's just up the road. Could play a bit of a factor here. Looks like it's the 3 and the 29, the next 2 cars up the road here. They're probably going to catch him before this stage ends. Millett still feeling frisky here. Ready to make a move. Still can't get the job done, though. Is he playing a bit of possum here, or does he feel like he's got a chance here to make a run? I guess we'll find out in just a second here, as we're actually going to ride on board with the 31 here just to get us a perspective of what he sees. Obviously, one last at Dover. See right there, though, gets to run off the corner, right on the corner panel. Has to leave the space, though. And he will, as he's going to get the run off the corner here, side by side. This is the best chance he's had all day for the lead. We'll see what he can do here. Proudfoot, Millett, side by side. Millett going to get the run off. Can't fully close it yet. Millett will lead this lap, first lap led tonight. Think Proudfoot's still going to be there at the moment, but we'll see how hard he rides in this corner here. Millett now trying to clear, can't get it clear yet. Still side by side. Proudfoot not giving up an inch here. Doing what you need to do to hang on here on that high side. It's about getting the runs off and making sure you run the corner at the right speed, but look at that aggressive move there. That will get Millett back up to the point. Proudfoot, though, going to try to over-under it, as we are going to have 6 to go in the stage. Millett will take the lead of this race. Millett, Proudfoot, 1-2. You can see in the far shot there, Tucker's third. Hagen has clawed his way up to 4th. He's looking to get in the top 3 before this race concludes here, or at least the stage concludes, I should say. It's Millett, Proudfoot. Millett going wide, but he's starting to pull some distance here. 5 to go in the stage. Last time by, it was a 32.11 for Millett, a 32.29 for Proudfoot. Wonder if Proudfoot may have burned up his stuff just a bit. Guess we'll find out shortly here. He's still getting okay runs here. A couple traffic up the road there. You can also see the 60 of Ross Baxter could play a factor here for the end of the stage here. Now, obviously, speaking of the lap cars, Oberstadt, if he goes 1 down here, that's going to hurt Josh Gaiman, who's currently the first car 1 down. So he kind of needs, at the very least, Oberstadt to stay on the lead lap here with 3 to go. But with the pace Millett's showing, this is going to be close. Keep an eye on this just a little bit further back down the road here. Roberts and Sears are fighting harder. We're going to cut away for that in a second just to show you. Roberts is going to get clear here. Sears will fall down to 6th. But you can see one more battle raging on here. Steve Tucker is under pressure from John Hagen. Hagen's looking to get back 3rd position right now. We'll keep an eye on these intervals right now. There's Josh Gaiman. Speaking of, he needs Oberstadt to stay in the lead lap if he wants to be the lucky dog here, as it's unlikely he'll be able to reel in that 3 for the end of the stage. Back up front, speaking of the 3, there he is. Millett there as well, with coming to 2 to go next time by. There's 2 cars ahead of the road at 2. The 29 fill-in driver, Chris Gones, and the 48 Tristan Catania. Catania and Gones are side by side. This could be a bit of a factor here. Proudfoot's fallen off here. Ross Baxter's already fallen 1 down, by the way, so now Baxter's the lucky dog. Look at that right there. Catania is going to be a bit of a pick that's going to help the 31 of Millett, as we've gotten now 2 to go in the stage. Overstat's now the lucky dog. Now it's going to fall to Catania if he gets past here. Millet taking no prisoners here. You can see him ripping and riding on that low side. Overstat going to get the better ride off, though. He's going to unlap himself. Now, Proudfoot, because of that loose corner there we saw on the inside, has opened up Proudfoot for a chance. Overstat, Catania fighting hard to stay on the lead lap. And then you got the battle of the leaders here. Catania mows down the outside wall as we're coming to 1 to go in the stage. Millet, Proudfoot, nose to tail here at the moment. Will Overstat be a bit of a pick here that could help Proudfoot? No allegiances the 3 has to any driver here. He is a Carolina Beagle car with a Bandit and a Line Power car in his mirror there. But coming off the last corner here, Proudfoot not going to have enough of a charge here. As Zach Millet's going to come off 3 and 4. And he will win. He's not won it yet. I'm going to have to prematurely call that. Now he will win stage number 2 with Proudfoot coming home in 2nd. Hagen will be in 3rd. Tucker will get 4th. Roberts 5th. Sears 6th. Wygent 7th. Zier 8th. Michelle 9th. And Wright 10th. Good run by Wright. Looks like Gaiman said he slowed up there. Looks like no major incidents for him, though. It said he flashed up with a crash, but looks like he's okay at the very least. But there's Zach Millet. Again, good drive by that 31 machine. Kept his nose down throughout the stage. And he will take the stage 2 flag, giving him his 3rd. Actually, his only 2nd stage win of the year. So, good for Zach Millet. As he will now come on in along with the 22. And this shows tires are a commodity you need. And look at, actually, it looks like Gaiman did tear up that front end there. Look at his front end, the 61 machine there. So while the pit stops conclude here, we're going to take a quick look to see what exactly happened to Gaiman here on the track. So keep an eye on the 61. Oh, he just got loose. And, oh, big lick there. And that's what happened. He'll cross the stamp. He almost will cross it there. He'll cross it then. But big lick for the 61 machine. Just got a little bit of air wash, a little loose, and ends up tearing up the front end. And now he's in a rock and a hard place situation. Here's the race off pit lane, by the way. It's going to go to Millet. It's going to be Millet, Proudfoot, Hagen, your top 3 off pit lane here. No cars will stay out on the lead lap. So that's how the top 3 will cycle off. They'll keep 1, 2, and 3. All cars kind of learning from stage 1 there. We'll all take 4 tires and fill it up. Not going to roll the dice with a 2-tire strategy. So speaking of up the road here, you can see a few cars down the pit lane here. But it looks like few. I'm trying to see who, if anyone, actually stayed up, take the wave around here. There's James Kerr. There's Josh Gaiman. Gaiman will take the wave around along with the 40 of Elfridge George and the 75 of James Kerr and the 71 of Josh Battles. They'll all take the wave around here, and we'll roll the dice and hope there may be a quick caution. They can get themselves back on and competitive here. I was at 61, very torn up. I was not hoping for that stage end, but luckily, at least with the 61's case, he has pressured tires in comparison. He last came in at 61, while Kerr came in at 31, Alfred George came in at 38, and Battles came in at 42. So he can go a bit longer if needed, but obviously you know that 61 is going to have a bit of performance issues with that front end clip being kind of destroyed. We should get the 1 to go this time by here. Wave around cars should get their laps, get waved around here. As that looks like that is the case here. You can see right there the 61 goes around, and that will promote Zach Millet to the lead, even though he was still technically the leader. With Proudfoot to his outside, it will be Hagen and Tucker, row 2, Robert Sears, row 3, Wygent, Michelle, row 4, and Zier and Oberstadt, Patrick Oberstadt, will be your first 5 rows here. Quick race update as well. We'll have 26 cars on the lead lap with Gaiman, Kerr getting their laps back. Ross Bax will be the first car, 1 down. Will be in the 1 down crew along with Kruger, Delayla, George, Mongold, Catania, who's currently 6 down, Richie Catania, Josh Battles is currently 15 down, and Selena Thompson did not take the race. So we have 33 of the 33 cars that took the flag still running with 26 cars on the lead lap. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane here. Green is out, and away we go. So lap 1 in stage, final stage concluded. Hagen, Proudfoot's falling down the 4th here. Is a bit of a bad launch by that 22 machine. But Hagen and Millett, the 2 drivers that have been the most winningest this season, they'll be battling side by side for the lead here. Millett, Gaiman, you can see we know Hagen's not willing to give up an inch here. Hagen side by side with that 31. Hagen will be almost clear, but you can see right there 31 now will be clear as 31 gets loose. That will allow the 9 to have a chance here to make a move. Steve Tucker going to go low side. It's about being smooth on exit. 31 just got a tiny bit loose. That's opened the door for Steve Tucker, who will get clear for 2nd. So put Tucker up to 2nd, put Millett down the 3rd. So the driver that won stage 1, the driver that won stage 2 are now 4th and 3rd respectively, as we got a bit of a class difference up front here. You see just behind as this battle rages on here, Pacey Wygett looking to make a move on Daniel Michelle. And now with all the cars in the top 10 being on equal footing, everyone on the same tire strategy here, we'll let you see how it plays out here. Ooh, looks like Josh Gaiman had a bit of a mistake there. He's had to jump back to the pit lane here, and it's kind of gone wrong for that 61 machine, as he's now back in the pit lane. Up front, though, I was watching the kind of scoring timing. Hagen makes a slight mistake there. It's allowed Tucker to take the lead here with Millett in 2nd. So while we watch it happen here, we'll actually just take a quick look at that, see what exactly happened. Remember, he was in the lead. Hagen was in 2nd here. We'll follow Steve Tucker here. And yeah, the 81 just got loose and ended up losing the spot there. Just want to make sure nothing major happened there. And that's how the lead was changed. Back to live action. You can see Hagen already falling down the order here. And that's promoted the 9 to the point. So the fill-in driver of Steve Tucker, who's up 16 spots before he qualified. He's one of the biggest movers in this race. 2nd biggest only in comparison to Bren Roberts, who's up 25 in respective. At the moment, Tucker's doing what he needs to do in that 9 machine. Speaking of, just in case you're curious, the biggest movers are Bren Roberts up 25, Steve Tucker up 16, and Lyle Axier up 13, tied with Davey Hawk up 13 as well. Biggest losers at the moment are Josh Gaiman down 22, Sean Hill down 16, and Chris Gones down 12. But obviously, it was still a long race. Anything can change. Anything can happen here as we watch this top 3 rage on in battle. You see in the chat here, Gaiman does have a few words here from his car, so I'll just relay what he has to say. Obviously, he was out there driving the car there. The car drives worse than it ever has. Short track package, just awful for this track. So it looks like Gaiman is not too thrilled here with this car track combination at New Hampshire. And it seems like kind of a real-life complaint drivers have as well with the short track package being a bit of a problem at this next-gen car at short tracks. But right now, top 5 has not changed. It's still Tucker, Millett, Proudfoot, Hagen, Sears. Top 10 all pretty much in a line here. So we'll see if there's any battles happening out on the surface here. We'll actually go a little bit further back here Kenneth Cheney, Proudfoot, looks like they were having a battle here between Feather Place and Cheney, but it looks like they've settled out. Chris Gomes and Davey Hawk, they were having a bit of a battle here. A little bit further back here, you can see right there Ryan Gomes and Emma Kruger there fighting. Emma Kruger is one down, though, so that is not for position. As we cut a little bit further back here, we'll see again just there. You can see, again, the 24 battling the 04, but, again, neither car on the same lap, so bit of a mute point. It's pretty much everyone is single file from first all the way to 15th here. So I guess there's a good chance to do a wraparound here again. So as we're going to hit lap 90 here. Still over 61 laps to go here. We'll do a quick wraparound to see where everyone is. Steve Tucker's going to lead the way with Zach Millett in second. Proudfoot sitting in third with John Hagan in the fourth, trying to recover here. Tom Sears in fifth with Daniel Michelle in sixth. Bren Roberts there in seventh. Pacey Wygent in eighth. Lilac Sear ninth. Patrick Oberstadt 10th. Lily Pelletier Sharp 11th. David Wright 12th. Kenneth Cheney 13th. Brandon Featherplace 14th. Kevin Feemster 15th. Dustin Painter there in 16th with Chris Gomes in 17th. Ryan Gomes in 18th. Davey Hawk in 19th. And Ryan Pinnell rounds up the top 20 with Sharn Hill in 21st. And you can see right there in that 47 machine. Right there, though, you can see up the road here. Battle now starting to form out. Pacey Wygent and Lilacs here fighting hard here just inside the top 10. As Wygent looking to keep 8th position. Zier looking to take 9th. We also got one more news as well. Looks like Emma Kruger's also going to pull up behind the wall as well, sharing similar thoughts to her Gear Cats teammate in Josh Gaiman, is that this race experience in this track combination has not been the favorable. Zier gets a little loose here, almost hits the inside wall. So Gear Cats having to kind of finish that point there. Gear Cats having a bit of a nightmare here tonight at New Hampshire. But with the off week, they'll get it geared back up. We'll see what they can do on the road ahead here. But Zier loses a couple spots, though, but falls outside the top 10. But luckily, will minimize the damage and will now be in 11th, trying to get geared back up. Back towards the front will fly. There's Steve Tucker still leading the way. Filling in for Seth Wanzing. Is Zach Millett in second, Proudfoot in third, and you can see right there at the moment, John Hagan getting a bit antsy. We saw at the end of stage number 1, these two drivers were fighting very, very hard. And you can see the same thing happening here. Speaking of, if you are curious, next race after this is going to be at Atlanta. So we have the week off next week, and then we'll be at Atlanta the following week, and then another week off. So we're going to be going to the plate racing at Atlanta. So keep that in the back of your minds in 2 weeks' time. So we'll take this opportunity as well as we're watching the battle. Actually, we have the battle for the lead here. As I was looking away for a second there, Zach Millett has caught the back of Steve Tucker, and I think that may have been helped a little bit by Austin Mongol there, as we saw him going one down there. Pacey Wygent's also had to take a trip down pit lane here. Don't think it was scheduled stop here. We'll keep an eye on that double zero. Obviously, do not want to cut away from this battle here. See what happens. We'll keep an eye on Wygent, and we'll keep an eye on this as this battle rages on. Top 3 now all within an earshot of each other. The question is, what do these drivers have? Looks like it may have been a scheduled stop for Wygent at the very least. It was only a 14.63 second stop. Wygent is away. A bit early to make it to the finish line here, but you can make it 60 laps on a tank of fuel and tires. But obviously, he's going to have a lot older stuff, so I don't think it was scheduled. 31, though, gets on the sky corner panel of the 9. 9 will hang on, but the 31 is there, and he's looking to take the lead. Side by side, both cars right here. Again, Millett can't get the runoff he needs, though, but he's still hanging on like a bad rash. 31 going in hard there, trying to go aggressive to get the 9 off his mount. And the 31 will take the lead back. So put the 31 up to the point. The 22 of Profit going to try to split the middle. And Steve Tucker has gone from the half to the half-not. He's gone from first all the way down the fourth in just a matter of 2 corners here. So Tucker, obviously not probably too thorough. He's leading a good portion of this final stage. And is now down the fourth and will have to get geared back up. Speaking of, Hagen trying to make a move on Proudfoot here. Obviously, a pit stop still looms for this field here. They'll have to make one more stop to the finish line. Question is, what first car will blink? So last week at Gateway with all the cautions, it helped save fuel here, but with minimal cautions, a pit stop, again, looms for these drivers. Hagen will get second. Proudfoot will fall down the third. Let's see, Battles gets out of the way here. Battles multiple laps down here. Does not want to end up intruding on this lead pack here. So he'll pull down under the line here. Allow the top 4 to go all around here. As this time by, I believe, will be at 50 to go. Yep, we'll now be officially at 50 to go. So we'll have this opportunity action. I'd just like to say thank you for tuning in here on ABN Esports 2. My name is Kevin Young, and you're here for the Doritos Locos Taco 150 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the ARCS Midwest Barbecue A-Square Cup Series. And thank you for joining us here on this Sunday evening as we have finished up the bracket challenge. The last 5 weeks have been very hectic. And we are seeing a race here as the season is coming closer and closer to conclusion. As after this race, we will have 7 rounds left to the playoffs start. So a lot can still play on for, and a lot of drivers still racing hard here. Lily Pelletier-Sharp here just for a second. That's not Lily Pelletier-Sharp. That's Lily Pelletier-Sharp. Also down here for service as well. Again, we're getting close, I think, to a pit stop window. Stefan Oberstadt in as well. Scheduled pit stop for both of them, but it looks like he does have a little crack on that front end there. So we'll see if this is scheduled or not. But with drivers starting to come in a little bit further back, makes you wonder if we've gotten into the window where drivers are ready to make a green flag pit stop. But there is a concern. We've seen it week in and week out where drivers have had a strategy choice, have tried to play something out, and then made a mistake or an accident happened and got pinned one down. So you kind of want to go long, I think, and especially a track like this. You don't want to go undercutty. But at the same point, the undercut could be what you need to do if you're John Hagen, Brandon Proudfoot, or Steve Tucker to try to get around Zach Millett here. So Alpha George will get out of the way here, does not want to interfere in this battle. And now will come in the pit lane. So there is that risk. What do you do if you're in the second, third, and fourth position? Do you pit early and maybe try to go for the undercut and take the lead? But if a caution comes out while you're on pit lane, you're definitely going 1 down. May end up going 2 down. And look at Brent Roberts back there. He got loose, was drifting that thing all the way out at 2 here, almost took the road course. Luckily, we'll get it back in the right direction. Comfortably in 6th, though, was a little bit of ways away from Tom Sears and a little bit ahead of Kenneth Chaney. So he's on an island right now, but he's running good here at the moment. Not really risking wrecking that thing, and luckily does not end up looping it. Back towards the front. We'll take it from the onboard perspective here from a second here of John Hagen here. As we'll see John Hagen here right now at the moment. Right on board here. Obviously won last week at Gateway. Can he get a run on that 30 machine? Remember, most wins so far in the A-Squared Cup Series was a second-round steal, and he's got on the inside corner panel right now, the 31. Can he get the run off the corner here? Remember, Catania just up the road here. Could be a bit of a pick that helps these cars. Gets a little slow off the exit there, and that's going to end up costing any opportunity to make a pass. So he's getting the run he needs, but it's just not enough to really clear. See the lap traffic gets away here, gets out of the way. Millett, Hagen, both going to get around Tristan Catania here. They've put about 7 tenths, I wouldn't say 7 tenths, but they put about half a second on Proudfoot, and they've put about a second on Tucker here. But top 4 all still in a blanket here. Obviously, if any driver's going to try the crazy undercut, I think it's going to be Steve Tucker in that 9 machine. He's got nothing really to lose. He's a fill-in driver here. He doesn't drive full-time. He's here for the checkered flag and the trophy. So it may not hurt to try a different strategy here, especially with a pit stop looming. But obviously you want to wait it out just as long as you can on a fuel tank to make sure you got enough fuel. But look at Hagan. He's going to make a move on the inside, side by side here. Hagan wants the lead. And he will get it. Put Hagan up to the lead. Millett now down the second. Question is, what can Millett do to answer back here? And look at that, first car to blink is in. Brandon Proudfoot, he'll be the first car to come on in. He feels like the undercut is his source of strategy. He is in for his final pit stop here. We'll see if he can gain any time by doing the undercut. Now the question is, obviously that has been relayed to Hagan, Millett, and Tucker. The question is, do they try to cut this off? Because there's a risk and reward. If you come in early, like I said, you're at a risk of, if you cut it off, you're not at the worst strategy, but if you get pinned 1 down to cause for to come out, it could be a lot more detrimental than running it out. Top 2 will not come in. Steve Tucker, though, will follow Proudfoot in. The advantage is if you do the overcut, though, you get fresher tires, and you have better chance of running down the car in front of you to make something happen. So there's a risk and there's a reward for the undercut and the overcut. And with coming to go 40 laps next time by, it could be worth a strategy. Then maybe try to make the overcut work if you feel like you got a good long-run car. We'll see if anyone blinks in the top 2 again. Still no sign of blinkage yet. For reference point right now, here are the leaders right now. Brandon Proudfoot's currently sitting here, currently on the front stretch, out of coming into 1 and 2 right now. You saw there goes Steve Tucker there. He's going to get passed. And then you're going to see the race leaders here right behind. Actually, that's Tom Sears. So actually, they're currently ahead right there at the moment. So you can see right here, there's John Hagan. There's Zach Millett right there. And just for a respective point, there's Proudfoot filling up the mirrors. So Proudfoot looking to get at least a lap back here, get himself back on the lead lap here, and make this strategy work. And we'll also keep an eye, again, it's a bit hard to pass, and this is where it's going to hurt, because right now, Millett and Hagan, they're going to make it a pain for that 22 to get around. Now, obviously, the 22's got the fresher stuff. He'll be able to get around quickly, but you know for a fact they're going to make his life a little bit harder to try to hurt the time on that overcut. Millett will fall down the third, but try to go back on the inside line. Can't get it done. Put Proudfoot 1 position away from getting back on the lead lap. Now, if a caution were to come out, he would actually get back on the lead lap here, but with the lucky dog. However, he would be at the tail end of the longest line. If he can unlap himself and the rest of the field pits, he would take the lead back when all cycle's done. Now he'll officially get around Hagan. So put Proudfoot on lead lap. A few other cars now come in. Sharon Hill and Ryan Gomes both in, both just outside the top 15. DeLayla going to scrape the wall there a little bit. Not going to chop block the 22 here. And now the question again, how long will the 81 and the 31 go? Right now, the first car in the lucky dog position is Steve Tucker, who's currently sitting there in the long shot. If he can unlap himself, it'd be Pacey Wygant, who will be the next car looking to go unlap himself here. As we'll stay on this battle for a moment, we're going to cut through the field here to see if there's any other battles worth reporting on. It looks like the top 10 is all pretty much at the moment kind of hanging on, all in a single file line. No one's really within striking distance of passing their opposition. Looks like David Wright is pitting in from 11th. There, you'll see him right there. Chris Cones also coming in. He's currently coming in from P13. So no major top 10 cars have come in other than Steve Wright and Brandon Proudfoot. They have both come on in. Now we have a blink. John Hagan, he is coming in. He'll surrender the lead. He will come in this time by. For reference point, this is going to be about 7 laps difference between him and Proudfoot, who came in first. He will hit his box. We'll keep an eye on Brandon Proudfoot right now, coming through 3 and 4. And we'll keep an eye here. We're going to ride on board with him at the moment and see what he sees, and we'll see if we can keep an eye on where John Hagen is. So you can see right there, keep an eye on the left of your screen. There's John Hagen still in his box, and he'll be well clear in that situation. John Hagen still not left his box yet. There he'll leave the pit lane. There's John Hagen. He's leaving his box now. And Zach Mill has now come on in as well. So 31 has come on in, and if that's any indication, the lead will be handed over to Brandon Proudfoot. The question is, though, does Proudfoot have the stuff to hang on? There you can see Millet in his box right there. Again, we'll focus on the 22 machine. You can see right there coming down the long front stretch here. And he will now be P10. As now Ryan Padal should be P10. Once Proudfoot gets around, he'll take P10. There he'll go. So Proudfoot will take the lead back. So right now, as it's all said and done, when this all cycles through, the lead will go over the Proudfoot. You can see how far Hagen's back. He actually fell below Steve Tucker here. So that undercut has really worked a treat for Tucker in Proudfoot, as Proudfoot's got a big advantage here. See the 33 of Markowski coming on in the Youngstown Town machine as cars begin to peel off again. Top 7 have yet to make their final pit stops of the race yet. Looks like Josh Battles had a bit of an incident. Speaking of a race leader, there he is at the moment. It is Brendan Roberts leading the way with Kenneth Chaney and Tom Sears. They're fighting hard here for second. As Chaney looking to make movements. It's Chaney, Sears, and Zier, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. As Chaney will hang on. Sears will fall down a spot here. You can still see back again. You can see the fresh tires working out as Hagen has gotten around Steve Tucker. So put Hagen now up to provisional P2 when it cycles all said and done. And you can just see by the gap, it's only about a gap of 3 seconds. So we know Proudfoot's got a fast 22, and he's got some clean track right now. Once Hagen gets clear of Pennell, he'll have the same clean track that 22 has. But the question is, what can Hagen do with it at the very least? And look at promoting Zach Millet. He's even further back. Again, he went from 2nd to 4th, but he'll have the freshest tires in this mad scramble with 31 laps to go. But up front, it's still Brendan Roberts leading the way. And actually, going back there for a second, Steve Tucker is made a position there. Sorry, I misread that. Around Ryan Pennell. Ryan Pennell and Kerr, they squeeze each other into the wall. That could be a caution if we're not careful. They'll keep it straight, though. But obviously, a little bit of a ruffle-tuffle between both the 12 and the 75. And, oh, big lick to the outside wall by Ryan Pennell. I think he's going to come in next time by here as he's still yet to make his final pit stop. With that car pretty wounded right now because of that hit. Probably will end up just pitting. But back up towards the front again. It's still Brendan Roberts. Kenneth Chaney there in 2nd. 240 left. Chris Goins looks like he has had an incident in 2. And now the question is, when will these cars pit? Obviously, we saw Josh Gaiman make it 60 laps. About 60 laps on a set of tires and fuel. Now, obviously, I don't know if it was 100% he pitted because of necessity or if he just pitted because he couldn't take it anymore. He's still in the chat. He could probably answer that question for us when he came in stage 2. But the question is, obviously there was a little bit of help of a few caution laps and in that regard, but this has been green flag racing in the final stage ever since the drop of the flag. And last pitting on 76, Roberts and Chaney did, along with Zier, Sears, and Featherplace, Michelle, and Feemster. The question is, can they hang on to this to make this a net positive? Because for reference point, 60 laps would be around 136. So again, not finishable. They're not going to make it to the finish unless they find a magical fuel number. Lilac Zier are going to come on in. She'll give up 3rd position for tires and fuel, along with Kevin Feemster, who will also be in this Gears of War machine. So that will promote the other video game franchise and technically also a TV show. Brandon Proudfoot will be promoted up to a top 5. Michelle will then slot the 6 as Proudfoot is beginning to climb here. Again, keep an eye on the Venables at the moment. Proudfoot is currently 17.20. Hagen's 19.45. Hagen is slowly reeling in this 22 machine. But is he making enough inroads to make it worth his while? We'll find out that answer in about 26 laps time, about to be 25 next time by. There is the advantage, though, if a caution, again, right now you're wondering, if you're a new viewer at home, you're wondering why Roberts, Cheney, Sears, and Feather Place are staying out. Oh, car in the wall in the back there. Josh battles. No caution will be called, though. Single car incident. Could have been the caution that may have helped out a treat for these cars here. Brandon Feather Place will come on in. But to answer the question I was proposing, why are these cars staying out even though they're losing time over hand over fist, is because if a caution were to be called right now, they could come on in. Presumably the cars that are also staying out at the moment and have made their pit stop would presumably come on in as well at the same time. And then in turn they would gain track position and maybe have a chance to win this race. But right now with Roberts coming in, he'll inherit the lead. He can't go no longer, and he will give up the race lead and probably any chance at victory. And he'll come on down. Kenneth Cheney will take the lead. So Cheney and Sears are the last two cars yet to make their final pit stop at the moment. Also, Michelle, Ryan Pinnell have not come in yet either, but they're not ahead of our race leaders. Just for clarity purposes. Kenneth Cheney will take another lap here. Again, Tom Sears about 5 seconds back here. He's going to need a caution, need one quick if he wants to make this strategy work. Pacey Wygent trying to make a move on Ryan Pinnell. This is P9. Will be P7. Actually, P7, yeah, when it cycles through here. Catania coming back in again here. Second stop for him. But this is where it gets interesting. We're going to focus back on John Hagen here. Because right there, just up the road, and actually we'll follow on the gyro camera here, if we get a second here. Well, the hood camera, I should say. There, right up there, up the road, is the white machine of the 22 Twisted Metal machine of Brandon Proudfoot. Proudfoot tried the undercut here to get himself the track position and try to hang on with his slightly older tires to make this happen. Hagen, accepting the risk, is going to take the fresher tires here in this advantage, but at the downside, he's going to have to use those fresh tires. He gets around Alfred George there to catch Proudfoot and pass Proudfoot. And with all this lap traffic, it's hurting Hagen, also Proudfoot. You can see Proudfoot, he gets around the lap car of Davey Hawk there. And now the question is, how quickly can he put a gap on to make something happen here? So that is how it rages on at the moment between these two cars here. That gap is beginning to close, and let's not rule out Zach Millett either. He's got the freshest in the undercut here. He's currently about 2 seconds back of Millett. Sorry, Millett is about 1.5 seconds back of Hagen, who's just about a second behind Proudfoot. So if Millett and Hagen get to racing, it could be a situation that could open the door for Millett to maybe capitalize here. 20 laps to go here. We're going to keep an eye on Proudfoot, Hagen, and Millett, as when they cycle through, they will take the lead of this race. But right now at the moment, as you can see Hagen trying to get around Hawk there, at the moment, it's still Kenneth Cheney who's leading the way, and he will now come on in with 20 to go. He will give up the lead and almost hit the tire barrier there, or the sand barrel, I should say. Tom Sears will see if he stays out one more luck for the luck of the Celtics. He will. So Tom Sears will, I don't know if he leads that lap. Yeah, no, Kenneth Cheney will lead that lap, but Tom Sears will take, if he stays out one more lap, will lead it. But Proudfoot, though, barreling down on Mr. 14, Mr. Consistency, Mr. Reliable, Tom Sears. The question is, can Proudfoot hang on with 19 more laps left in this race with about a 7-lap tire disadvantage to John Hagen? Sears will stay out one more lap here. He will lead this lap this time by. However, he should be within passing distance this time by. And you can see on the inside line right now, Proudfoot making a move on Sears, and that will be for the race lead. Put Proudfoot up to the lead and put Hagen now still in third now, trying to make a move for second, and he will successfully get it done. So Proudfoot will lead, Hagen will be second, Sears will now be third. Sears still has to pit one more time, and then it'll be Millett. And when he pits, Millett will be brought up to fourth, Tucker will be fifth. And then also Dan Michelle has to pit as well. So your top 5 will be Proudfoot, Hagen, Millet, Tucker, Zier. So Steer's overcut strategy actually worked a treat for her, as she'll end up being in a top 5 position here. As it looks like Sears going to be under threat here, but we're going to cut back up to the lead here. It's beginning to get good here with 16 to go. Hagen trying to make a move for the race lead and the race win here on that 22. Proudfoot, remember, has not won a race yet this season in a points bank capacity. He did win the Clash, but he hasn't won since yet. And look at that! Hagen gets a good run. Couldn't make it work. Had to take out evasive action. Got a little squiggly. And it ended up almost running into the wall there. And that's going to cost him the time. And in turn, fall him in back to Millet. So Hagen and Millet now are going to be within touching distance. And this is going to get Proudfoot a little bit of room here. A little bit of breathing room. He's going to try to quickly get around David Wright here. Hopefully. But right now, trying to stay in the lead lap is not provised to get out of the way here. It'd be helpful if he did, but Wright knowing that he needs to stay in the lead lap, and with Kevin Feemster just up the road there, he needs to make sure he stays in a lead lap position. Proudfoot will get clear. Now the question is, will Wright be a bit of a thorn to Sears and Millet and Hagen and make something happen? 14 laps to go. Hagen is caught back up. But Zach Millis also joined this fray as well. Tucker has lost distance. He's now just gotten around Tom Sears. But Steve Tucker is going to need a restart to get back in this top fray. It's going to be the top 3 here. The 3 strongest drivers you can say this season, all within the shot. And if you had to take a guess, maybe the drivers they'll be battling out for the final 4 in about 12, 13 weeks on the high banks of Homestead, Miami. You can say right now these 3 drivers have a good shout to be those 3 fighting for a championship. But right now, obviously still in New Hampshire, in the upper Northeast, anything can still change here. For respective last time by, Hagen was slightly quicker than Proudfoot and Millet. Actually, Millet was the quickest out of the 3, I should say. Actually, no, it was Hagen. Hagen, 31.88, 31.9 for Millet, a 31.92 for Proudfoot. We'll see. Check the times in a second here, but it looks like Hagen's going to get a run here. Ooh, he clipped the wall just a bit here. Last time by, we'll check the times as they cross. John Hagen was the quickest, a 15.83. Millet next quickest with a 15.84. And Proudfoot beginning to feel the effects of the tires, a 15.98. Proudfoot just hoping this race was 10 laps quicker as he's trying to hang on here. You can only make the car so wide. You can only make the car so good. Hagen going to get a run here going into 1. Can he make it stick? Still side by side. Hagen looking to clear here. Proudfoot, though, knowing to be very aggressive to make sure he can stay on the high side here. He made it work in stage 1, but I think those tires are going to show their life. Hagen will get clear. Hagen to the lead as will come the 10 laps to go. Hagen looking to try to set sail here. Proudfoot not going to try to let him go here. And remember, Millet, the freshest tires out of the 3 here. We'll see if he can maybe make a challenge here. Coming late to go here. Tom Sears is still yet to pit, by the way, as well. He is really trying to make this work here. It's still a net gain, but remember, Tom Sears did have a top 5 car. So he's really making that line power machine work here. But he's maybe going to try to make it go to the finish here. And still with a net top 5. 9 laps to go. 0 actually get around Tom Sears, speaking of Tom Sears. But we're focusing on the lead here. See Proudfoot and Millet. They're fighting hard there in the distance. Pinnell could be a bit of a pick here. We'll see what he can do. Again, they've lost about a second to John Hagen, and the gap is beginning to grow here. Eight laps to go. If you're Millet, you got to get around Proudfoot quickly if you want to challenge that 81 machine. Still battling hard here for second. Gap is growing. Last time by for respective purposes. Hagen ran a 31.56. Proudfoot and Millet both ran 31.99s. I don't think that's 100% by design by Millet, but he's just really struggling to make passes happen here. Six laps to go. Obviously, if a late race caution happens, it could shake up everything here. As it makes you wonder how many cars will elect to stay out, how many cars will elect to stay, come on in for 4 fresh tires. We'll find that answer out relatively shortly here, if it does come at all. Millet looking maybe to make a move, but can't find it done. Did he burn up his stuff a little bit too much? Gap is now 2 seconds. Millet now going to have a chance on the door side here. Will get the drive off he needs. And he will clear almost Proudfoot. We'll see if he clears him going into 1. He will clear him going into 1 as we'll get the nice shot there. And you'll see right there, Millet will get clear. But now the question is we'll show you, just to show you how big this gap is at the moment for Zach Millet. There you can see right there, that's what 2 seconds, 2.18 seconds looks like. And you see Hagen, he's currently got around, actually that's right there, speaking of the car, he got around Tanya Michelle. But there's Zach Millet. Just, again, show you how far 2.38 second is with 4 laps to go, 4 miles to go. It's going to be a very tall task. He's going to need Hagen to make a mistake if he wants to get around him here. Or he's going to need an elusive yellow flag. Speaking of John Hagen, there he is. Won last week at Gateway. If he can hang on for these next 4 laps, he'll add a 5th victory to his totals. And it will hit 3 laps to go here. So also remember the driver leading the Rookie of the Year standings by well over 53 points. He will extend that gap as Lilac-Zier, a strong competitor currently in 2nd, is currently sitting in 5th position. Pacey Wyatt, the 3rd competitor in that Rookie of the Year challenge, is 56 points back. He's currently sitting in 8th. But you can see right there, Tom Sears finally had to come on in, I believe. And then you see right there, currently sitting in 13th. Actually, he is not even pitted yet. My mistake. He is still toughening it out here. Got to respect that strategy, but now he will go 1 down with 2 laps to go. So Sears' strategy of trying to stay out on 1 set of tools showed you could do it, but you were going to lose too much time to make it viable. So as John Hagen gets ready here, as he comes off 3 and 4, he is going to see the white flag here. White flag in the air. Wrong graphic. White flag in the air. Brought to you by Spiel Racing Designs. John Hagen is looking poised to get this 5th win. Gap is 2.2 to Zach Millet. Michelle had to make a late pit stop there. Unready to this battle. Proudfoot distant 3rd. Will not be challenged for 3rd. Millet will not be challenged for 2nd. But as John Hagen has done everything right, did not win either stage here today. His main compadres behind him won both, but sometimes it shows you don't have to win a stage to win the race. John Hagen will win the Doritos Locos Taco 150 here at New Hampshire, with Millet in 2nd, Proudfoot in 3rd, and Steve Tucker will round out 4th. And right there, ooh, bit of a lump shot there by Feemster. And we'll see if he ends up damaging it so he can't do the donuts. He is stopped. But a very odd situation for a race winner, as he's now parked on the high side here. But there is our race winner, John Hagen. Again, 5th win on the season. And you can see he's quite proud. And Pacey Wyatt almost tried to get him, but Sharp not really paying attention there. Will T-bone the 81. Proudfoot, Feather place a pile in. Kerr nowhere to go as well, so I don't know if John Hagen is going to have much of a celebration here tonight. Now he's got to fire it back up, but big old door hit there from Sharp. They're not even teammates, but there you can see also Hagen and Patrick Oberstadt rubbing little fenders there as well on that point as well. So as we watch Hagen come around here, we'll see if he burns down or not. Actually, we'll watch his celebration as well. Do not go anywhere as well. as we watch John Hagen do his celebrations, we will have the interviews. We'll try to get Hagen, Millet, and Proudfoot all in here and hear their thoughts on the festivities here tonight. As John Hagen going to park on the line, he'll do a little celebration here at the very least. Makes you wonder if he's going to try to do his backwards victory lap here like he ended up doing last week. But John Hagen, your winner here tonight, 5th win on the year for him. So it looks like he will do a Polish victory lap here, and while he does that, we will take a quick look at the final results here, unofficial final results, just in case SDK decides to crash. I just want to get these all nice up on the screen so the lovely viewers at home can see them. So while he does his little victory lap here, we'll take a look at the final results here in the Doritos Locos Tacos 150. John Hagen will take the race win with Zach Millet in 2nd, Brandon Proudfoot in 3rd, Steve Tucker 4th, Lilac Zero round out a top 5. Tucker's was a great race there as a debut, a fill-in driver. Kenneth Cheney 6th, Pacey Wygen 7th, Brandon Roberts 8th, Lily Pelletier Sharp 9th, and Brandon Featherplace will round out the top 10. Patrick Oberstadt 11th, Sharon Hill in the fill-in role. Good finish for Gear Cats there. Highest Gear Cat car, I believe. Nope, it's Sharp's highest Gear Cat car one. He'd be the 2nd highest one, and the last car on the lead lap. Feemster 13th, Wright 14th, Davey Hawk running at the 15th. We're getting the cars that were put one down late. Tom Sears tried to make the tire strategy work, couldn't do it, but will finish 16th. Oberstadt 17th, Stefan Oberstadt. Chris Goins 18th, Dale Markarski 19th. Ryan Pinnell rounds out your top 20. We're a little bit further down. We got Ross Baxter 22nd with Dustin Painter 21st. Tristan Catania 23rd. James Core 24th. Daniel Michelle had a pit late there. Finished 25th, matching his car number. But he will still win the bracket challenge. So all happy for him at the very least. At least he wins something here tonight, even though he had a bit of a poor result. Alfred George 26th. Mark DeLayla 27th. Ryan Gomes 28th. Rosh Battles 29th. And then Austin Mongold getting the cars that had retirements along with Gomes and Battles. Mongold retired 30th. Emma Kruger pulled behind the wall at 31. Richie 63rd, finishing P31. Richie Catania, 63 laps down, pulled behind the wall. Josh Gaiman, 69 laps down in 33rd. And Selena Thompson did not take the flag. So 34 cars will end up running this race. So we'll take this opportunity now while we have this quick chance. We will hear from the top 3 interviews here. So we will file on in, and we'll hear their thoughts. So just 2 seconds here, and we'll hear from our 3 drivers if we can get them in here. Pulling up to the interview. There we go. So we'll start off with our 3rd place finisher here. Let me just make sure all the audio levels are good, and we'll hear their thoughts on today's festivities. Brandon, this is Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
All righty. Well, again, a very eventful race at the very least. You had some strong pace, but very long race here. So I guess let's start off kind of quickly here with the first question here. Take us through that opening first stage there. We saw you and Hagen racing very hard throughout that first stage, especially coming to the white flag in stage number 1.
Yeah, it was just it's just pretty much a repeat of last week. The Proudfoot and Hagen show trying to kill each other for stages. No, all things considered though. Really, really fun race. We both were. I was a little loose coming out, and then he hit the curb coming out to the corner, and we kind of met in the middle. We both went up to the wall and kept it straight. But overall, yeah, it was a fight between me, him, Millet. Tucker was there for a little while. Michelle was there. It was a good fight up front for the majority of the race today.
Yeah, no, we saw it, and again, you were fighting quite hard. Especially saw it in the second stage where you took the fresh tires and you showed why you need 4 tires at a track like this and made it work quite nicely. Speaking of, how was the track out there in conditions? Because we saw cars maybe struggling a bit to pass. So how was the passing standards out there? Could you make moves if you needed to, or did you really need fresh tires to make something happen?
I wouldn't say fresh tires. You needed to get in an advantage in some way, shape, or form. The way that I think it was Millet that did it there in the second stage is he was fast enough to get to me, but he couldn't pass me. So he stuck right on my bumper for about 10 to 15 laps. And by just not having the aero and the spoiler, it's causing me to spin coming out of the corner. And then eventually he got that rear tire grip advantage to let him get a run down the straightaway. So by no means could you just snap your fingers and make a pass happen. But if there were prior variables that gave you an advantage, or if you can manage to do an over-under and get a run, That was the only way that you could really do it. There was no kind of just, oh, I'm just going to go this way like you would at Daytona or Talladega or stuff like that, to where you could just snap your fingers and go around them.
Well, moving onward, obviously we saw in the third stage, you were fighting hard with Hagen, Tucker, and all that, making passes work. And then you decided to be the first driver that blunk on an undercut strategy. You came in early, and it seemed like you were going to make it work, but then the tires fell off. So kind of take us through that mindset. If you could run it back, would you try the overcut, or were you in the mindset that you had to try anything to get around Hagen and Millet? Kind of like Larry Mack said, if you follow the leader, you follow the leader. You had to try something different.
Yeah, I probably would have tried it again. I was only 0.7 of a second behind them, and it gave me a 4-second gap from their pit cycle. But had a little trouble getting around a few lap cars, and you lose a 0.5 second a lap 3 times. Right there is half the gap. And I don't doubt that they were struggling a little bit with cars too here and there. But I was trying to be a little bit conservative because I wasn't sure if we were going to get a caution during the pit cycles. So at least until I knew everybody cycled out, I was trying to take care of my rears, which unfortunately caused that gap to shrink. I think if I would have gone full bore and been a little bit more aggressive with the lap cars, it may have been a repeat of last week. There would have been a bumper from Hagen on the previous lap to get it. But yeah, I definitely would do it again, and it was a great race towards the end, through from everybody.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch throughout, and obviously, again, the tires just fell off near the finish line. Moving on, obviously, as well, Atlanta is going to be – we have the race week off next week, and then after that, we're onwards to Atlanta. So, obviously, Atlanta being played up a plate track, it is obviously a bit of a fun track here. So, kind of take us through your thoughts on Atlanta. Do you think it's a track that – obviously, I think a lot of drivers say they have a chance at winning, but what's your feelings on Atlanta?
Like you said, it's a plate track, so a lot of people that don't naturally have pace at this tracks and your plate track ones to watch, like your David Wrights, even Austin Mongo's been doing well himself here recently at the plate tracks. Those guys come into the variables, and it's just that much more people racing up towards the front. It could cause cautions, but it'll open up more strategies for people that are willing to do a little bit of undercut here and there and stuff like that. And obviously, with us being off for Mother's Day here next week, plenty of time to test the car, figure it out, and keep an eye on weather and race conditions for Atlanta to get everybody dialed in. So more of a universal track, and plenty of time for everybody to get figured out. So it should be an exciting one, and it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously,
also going to be a USA throwback paid scheme. So
yeah, it is, since it's going to be the only race in May, and obviously the race before Memorial Day. It is going to be obviously drivers running, obviously that, and Iowa as well. Drivers can run their very patriotic schemes if they have some. But obviously, Brandon, as you know the drill by now, if there's anything else you want to add, any friends, family, or sponsors you want to thank, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Start off with Smil Racing Designs for the Twisted Metal paint scheme for 2024 here in the A Squared Cup Series. Everybody does stuff in the background in A Squared, as well as just ARCS in general. You guys here at ABN for having us on the broadcast. Without you guys, friends, family, and everybody else that roots us on won't be able to see anything. And watching a live race is a heck of a lot more fun than watching a replay. Said it just a second ago. Friends, family, everybody that roots me on, anybody joins in here on ABN2. And everybody does stuff in the background. All the A Squared admin starts doing race replays, review, and stuff like that to keep us all going here. I believe we're just past the halfway point. Yes, that was round 11, so we're going into round 12. So we got 2/3 of the season gone. So it's hopefully the Caution Fest don't stray their views like they were last week, but we're coming up on the end of the regular season. And it's going to be interesting to watch those drivers that are down on the low end as far as the points buffer is concerned. So definitely looking forward to the next following few races. Thanks for having me.
It is fun to talk to you, Brandon. But as always, obviously enjoy the week off, and hopefully we'll be talking to you relatively soon. But you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
You as well.
And that was our third place finisher, Brandon Proudfoot. So we'll move on nicely to our second place race winner. We'll move on and we'll talk to Zach Millett and hear his thoughts now. Zach, this is Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Hey, buddy, got a copy.
All right. Well, a little bit of time since we talked to you last, but good to hear from you again. Obviously, again, we'll start off, obviously, I'll do at the race beginnings. And obviously, again, we saw you make strategies work. So again, take us through. I asked Proudfoot the same question. I'll ask you the same one. How was the passing standards out there? How was the track out there in your opinion? Do you think you can make moves work, or do you really need like some help or divine intervention to make something happen?
No, it was definitely possible to pass. You just kind of had to set it up, the lap before. You really either had to go in higher than the guy in front of you and kind of try to arc it and get a run off, or plan ahead basically. And it was really tight running if you were side by side with anybody. And Brandon and I had some crazy racing tonight, man. It was a hell of a lot of fun, and with Hagen too. I mean, it was really tight all night long, and it's just the razor's edge, man. Like just blurt the throttle in the wrong spot, you're going around.
Mm-hmm. Moving onward, I guess ask my further question here as well. Obviously, we saw in stage one, you were definitely kind of watching in the passenger seat as you saw Hagen and Proudfoot kind of door battles there. But moving a little bit further on, stage two, you really made it work. You got around, I believe it was Proudfoot, or maybe it was Hagen, but you won stage two. So take us to that second stage, your perspective, and really how you made those fresh tires work.
Yeah, the stage one there, I kind of have to race for stage points this season. I have to earn stage points for like basically the rest of the regular season. So that's kind of like priority number one when I get into any of these races. And once we got to stage two, we already got the stage one points. We felt a little more comfortable and kind of threw it in there a little bit, a little more wear on the tires and leaned on them a little harder, I should say. And yeah, I think we were pretty lucky to come away with that stage win. The car felt really good on the long run, and I don't know, it was just really good racing out there.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I have to ask this question. Obviously, we got a very green flag. Obviously, stage one was a little bit caution fast, but stage two and stage three were clean throughout. So in stage three, obviously, you went the longest with the overcut strategy. I asked Proudfoot, he always went the undercut, and he said he wouldn't really would do it again. I'll ask you the same question. If you could run it back, do you think that going the longest was the best, or you think you would have came in a few laps earlier if you were given a do-over?
Yeah, I would have definitely come in about 3 laps earlier at least. I was just telling Hagen in the interview room there that I was going to come in the same lap that he called it out on. So once he called it out, I didn't want to come in the same lap and possibly get into each other on entry. And so I stayed out that extra lap, and I really didn't want to. I really wanted to undercut him at least a lap or two. I knew Proudfoot was going to be way out there. You can just make up so much time on new tires. So yeah, I just waited a little too long. I think 3-4 laps early would have been just about right.
Mm-hmm. I guess moving on, obviously we do have the week off next week in regards of obviously with Mother's Day. And then we have Atlanta, plate racing Atlanta, and then another week off. So take us through your minds of Atlanta. Obviously, you're in a driver that needs stage points more than wins at this point. So take us through your thought process of Atlanta. How do you feel about the plate racing in Atlanta, and do you think it's going to be a track that can favor you a little bit?
I don't know. I think it's just the roll of the dice, basically, those restrictor plate races. And we're going to really try to get a good qualifying run out of it if possible, and maybe just try to stay up front or towards the front, top 10 at least for that first stage, and then after that, whatever happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I guess obviously wrapping up my question here as well. If there's anything else you want to add, family, you want to thank anything else during this race, or any family, friends, or sponsors you want to thank, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast, ARCS, all the admins, everybody that puts this league on for us. It's a lot of fun. Glad to be a part of it. HBR TV, Track Bar Media, HBRShops.com, Castle Products. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch at That Is For Guy.
All righty. Well, it's fun talking to you always, Zach Millett. Obviously, you enjoyed the week off, and hopefully we talk to you next week. If not, you take care and have a good rest of your week.
Hope so, man. Thank you. Take care.
And that was Zach Millett, our second place finisher. And now we only have one driver left to hear from. We'll hear from our race winner, John Hagen. So we'll bring him on in. John, this is Kevin, the ABM booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy, Kevin.
All righty. Well, again, we always got to start at the beginning here, and you had a good quality run at the very least. And obviously, again, I asked Proudfoot his opinion on stage one. I want to hear stage one from your perspective as well, and how those last couple laps happened in your opinion.
Stage one was just, I was learning. I didn't have much time to practice this, even though I wanted to. I really watched more than I...
Oh, well, looks like Hagen's mic cut out there for a second. Hold on,
Sorry, I disconnected my headset by accident.
Go ahead, keep going.
So, I was just learning the whole time, and towards the end there, I started closing on him, which I realized I was doing it right, so I started trying to do it harder, and I made a mistake there coming to the line for the end of the stage, and there's nothing Proudfoot did. That was me clipping. I think I clipped the flat part of the track and getting super sideways and being an idiot and staying in it, trying to get it straight. Mm-hmm. So all on me. I understand if he felt that was a little over ambitious. So I get it. That's my bad. I'm sorry, but it was no ill feeling there. I didn't try to fence him for it.
Yeah, no, because we saw obviously last week you guys were racing clean. Proudfoot tipped his hat to you and said it was textbook, and you both showed respect. So I was kind of like, I know you're aggressive, but I don't think you'd be the person that would wreck someone for a stage win, especially when you have multiple this season. Moving on, we're at stage 2. Obviously, you came in, you took 4 tires, and then you had a bit of a few incidences where the car got a little bit loose, and you had to make a recovery drive. So I guess through stage 2, after those mistakes, what was going through your mindset? Were you a bit worried that maybe you were concerned that you could be in trouble?
No, I had to take a couple deep breaths. I was forgetting to breathe, and like I said, I was learning the first stage, so I took what I had learned, and then I tried to go harder the second stage, and that led to more mistakes, more almost wrecking, and me stabbing the brakes to keep the car straight. So I did that 2 or 3 times, and I fell probably all the way back to like 20th, 25th, way far back, and I drove my butt off after not making any more mistakes to third, like a second behind the leaders. So at that point, I was like, all right, as long as we keep the wheels pointed straight, we should have a pretty good chance at winning this thing. Because I got good pace. So, I mean, second stage was just some more learning and some more, let's not crash this thing before it's over.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously in the final stage, we saw you come in, and again, we saw you were kind of like you, Proudfoot, and Millet were the 3 Goldie Bears and the 3 Bears. I know I butchered that name title, but we saw Proudfoot go for the undercut, and it didn't work out quite for him, a little bit too early. We saw Millet go a bit too late, but you made it just work just right. So I guess take us through your mindset of that strategy, because you came in just late enough and made it work. So kind of take us through your pit decision in that final stage.
Well, in the final stage, I had a great restart and actually got myself cleared to the lead, and then I made another stupid mistake. So it was recovery again from there, and luckily I didn't fall but to 4th, and I was just saving tires and sitting, and I knew we went green with like 72 to go, so I wanted to come in with 36 to go, right smack in the middle, so that I'm not guessing what my tires are going to be at the end of a run.
Mm-hmm.
So right down in the middle, that most time on fresh tires, that's what I went for. As soon as I saw Proudfoot come in early, that just confirmed what I was going to do. I didn't think that I thought the tire fall off was way too big for me not to go right down the middle. So I just stuck to my guns and just was patient until I could get by him. And then they fought in my mirror, and that just made it even easier from there.
Yeah, especially those last couple laps. Once you got clear, they battled, and you made it work. So I guess my last question will be on the point is, obviously, again, we have a week off. Atlanta's the following week. Obviously, in your situation right, you have 5 wins, multiple stage points. You're leading the rookie year standings. A winning at Atlanta is not really a be-all, end-all. So you're not in a situation like Millet, who needs points, stage points, or Proudfoot, who's still looking for the first win. So kind of take us through your thoughts on Atlanta right now. Like, obviously, you're kind of playing with house money, so you going to try anything different in Atlanta or be more aggressive? Or what's your thoughts on Atlanta, I guess?
I don't like Atlanta. I can qualify there, but I don't like it. I'm just going to be brutally honest.
Hey, honesty is the best policy around here.
It's a plate race, and it's an even tighter plate race than like Daytona. So I don't know if it's going to be a wreck fest. Hopefully we can all keep it straight, but I'm just going to try to keep the nose clean and try to keep it up front for when the money gets paid out. I know I didn't do too well at the last plate race I was in. I made some stupid mistakes. So hopefully I don't make those again. But yeah, well, I mean, the luck of the draw at those plate races. So I hope I'm lucky.
Hey, you showed you can be lucky sometimes and lucky not. As obviously last week at the HTL Daytona 250 showed, or 500 I should say. Definitely luck can sometimes help you, and sometimes luck can smite you as well. But obviously, as it is tradition around here, if there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Shout out my beautiful girlfriend for being an amazing person, letting me do these races, supporting me and watching me when I do them. Shout out you, Kevin. You're like my new best friend. I talk to you so much after these broadcasts. Shout out you for putting on a wonderful broadcast, and everybody at ABN. Shout out Beatron Racing, Mongold, Adams, and Breo couldn't be here tonight, but still shout out them. They're amazing to work with. CBR is awesome too. They offer good insight, and they love to help out when they can. Shout out all the admins at A Squared for working hard to put on good races. I know it's not easy, and I know I complain a lot, but thank you anyways. And yeah, that's it.
All right, that is it. Well, again, hopefully, obviously, we'll be seeing you in 2 weeks' time, hopefully in Atlanta. I know you'll probably be rocking a patriotic or American scheme at the very least. But obviously, again, who knows? Maybe we'll be talking to you tomorrow as well. But if not, you take care and have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, Kevin.
And that was our race winner, John Hagen. So obviously that is it for the interviews here tonight. So we are going to move on out here, and we are going to go through the results one more time, and then we're going to mosey on out of here and call it a night. So we'll do that real fast. Just give me 2 seconds here. Just moving some graphics around. There we go, and we'll put this on as well. There we go. So now we'll take a look at the final results one more time, just in case you still need them for whatever purposes. And here's the race results one more time. John Hagen keeping his magical rookie season going alive, even though it feels kind of strange to call him a rookie. He wins this race with Millet in second for Bandit, Proudfoot, Tucker, Zier, your top 5. With Cheney, Wygant, Roberts, Sharp, Featherplace, your top 10. Oberstadt, Hill, Feemster, Wright, Hawk, your top 15. Sears, Stefan Oberstadt, Gones, Markowski, Pinnell, your top 20. As we move a little bit further down here. Painter, Baxter, Catania, Kerr, Michelle, your top 25. George, Salela, Gomes, Battle, your top 29. With Mongold, Kerr, Catania, Gaiman, Thompson, your 34. With, again, Thompson not taking the flag. So that is going to do it here tonight for the A-Squared Series at New Hampshire. Obviously, Bracket Challenge is now officially in the mirror. Congratulations to Daniel Michel for winning the Bracket Challenge. Obviously, again, very happy that he did this, and happy he won this, and he'll be definitely trying to use that springboard momentum for the remaining weeks. Obviously, as we do have said, we do have the week off next week for the A-Squared Cup Series in regards to Mother's Day, so enjoy the week off then. We'll be back here on the 19th here. I think that could be on ABN1. We'll see how the schedule goes. Keep an eye on the ABN Esports socials for finding out what channel that race may be on. I know I'll be on the call regardless, but maybe we'll have Carmen back on the broadcast as well. We'll have to find out on the 19th, but keep an eye on the ABN socials for that. And then obviously off for Memorial Day, and then we'll start the mad dash to the finish line for the A-Squared season, as we are only going to have, after tonight, 7 rounds until the regular season ends. We'll see if Millet can keep his chase going to make the playoffs, and we'll see again if any other driver can join the lucky winners and punch their ticket to the finish line. Obviously as well, keep an eye on ABN1, as they will be broadcasting the HDL Cup Series, where myself, Joe Cortez, and Christina Ryan producing the thing will be ready for Fontana in the Cup Series, and also the Truck Series, which Ryan Pinnell, ARC's own Ryan Pinnell, will be on the broadcast on Tuesday as well. But again, keep an eye on the socials. If you want to follow me as well, you can find me on one of those tweets and follow me. I'd love to have new followers as well. But until then, thank you for joining us here, and have a good rest of your evening.